Okay. I guess I'll hand it off to Karin.
All right, here we go. So, Stronglandia. Exterior thick forest day. It's early morning. The sun rays barely break through the thick trees. Joseph is a 20-something-year-old man, fair-skinned, blonde hair, but the most distinguishing feature is his glowing sky blue eyes. It's outworldly. He climbs up a tall tree and does his best not to slip on the snow-covered branches. There are glowing fruits hanging on the periphery of the branches. He plucks one off. Once he does, its glow dies down. He takes a big bite. The juices of the fruit drip down the corners of his mouth. He closes his eyes, enjoying the satiation of his hunger. Joseph consumes the rest of the fruit, then makes his way to the next one. He plucks it out and puts it in a bag hanging on his shoulders. The fruits aren't easily reachable. They grow on the tips of the branches, which are hard to get to. Joseph looks over at the cluster of branches with more accessible fruit, but to get to these, he has to make a scary jump. He looks down at the deadly drop, then back at the fruits. With an acrobatic move, he jumps and grabs onto a thick branch. His body swings back and forth. With a forward swing, he lets go of the branch, does a flip, and catches onto an even further branch. Joseph secures his footing and looks back at his original position with a smile on his face. The fruit is now within reach, and he fills his bag with a bunch of them. Joseph hears the sound of scratches and a deep-throated growl. He looks in the direction of the noise and sees two wolf-like creatures climbing up the tree.
Oh boy.
Joseph climbs further up, trying to get away from the vicious creatures, but they are damn good climbers. They bounce easily from one branch to another, using their sharp claws to scale the tree. One of them is very close to Joseph. It reaches up and takes a swipe at his leg, but misses narrowly as Joseph makes another daring jump to a further branch. But he's not so lucky this time. The branch snaps under his weight and he falls down from a deadly height. Out of nowhere, a forest beast leaps and grabs Joseph from the waist using his mouth. The beast lands and flings Joseph on the ground. Joseph, disoriented from the quick series of events, backs up, looking around in disbelief. The creature is at least 3 times bigger than him, has formidable back armor. Its skin has what looks like glowing orange veins pulsating in rhythm with its heartbeat. Its eyes have the same outwardly glow, which characterizes Joseph's as well. It has a notable scar on its face. The beast turns to the 2 wolves, which are now angry they were deprived from a juicy meal. They circle around the beast, trying to get to Joseph, but the beast keeps himself between Joseph and the wolves. The face-off gets more tense. The beast's tentacles drop from his mouth. One of the wolves attacks, but the beast smacks him easily with his front leg. It flies and stumbles and gets up. In the meantime, the beast charges the second wolf. He grabs it with his mouth and flings it at the other one. The wolves slam into each other and howl in pain. The beast is clearly superior in strength. After a moment's hesitation, the wolves scramble away in fear. Once the beast is sure that the wolves are gone, he turns to Joseph, who is backed up to the tree, his face pale from the shock and fear.
Whew, I'm to the rescue. Boy, am I glad to see you.
The beast approaches and sniffs him. He reaches for the bag Joseph collected the fruit in and pulls it off his shoulders.
I guess you deserve it. You can take 1.
Imar, the beast, dangles the bag from his mouth until some of the fruits fall out. The beast puts the bag to the side and eats the fruit.
Hey, I said you can take 1.
The beast covers the fruit with his front leg.
That's not fair. Did you see what I had to go through to get those?
Joseph tries to get his bag, but the beast navigates its body, blocking him. He eats another fruit, taunting Joseph.
Imar, stop. I need these for my sister.
Joseph fakes right and then goes left, spinning around Imar. He snatches his bag and pulls it, but Imar grabs the other end of it. They have a mismatched tug-of-war. Joseph pulls hard. Imar lets go, and Joseph falls back. The bag goes flying, and all the fruits inside it tumble out. Imar leaps over Joseph and eats the rest.
Great. Just great. You happy now?
Imar approaches Joseph, who backs up.
What are you doing? This isn't funny anymore.
Joseph backs up beyond the tree, but Imar stops beside it. He hits the tree with his massive body. A bunch of fruit gets dislodged and land around Joseph. One of them hits Joseph on the head. The beast produces a sequence of melodic whistles. Joseph holds his head in pain.
You think that's funny, huh?
Joseph picks up one of the fruits and chucks it at the beast. The beast returns the favor by kicking one at Joseph. The fruit hits Joseph hard in the stomach. Joseph falls on the ground, holding his torso in pain. Aymar rushes to Joseph as he produces a sequence of whistles which communicate his concern over Joseph. Aymar rolls him over, trying to find out if he's okay. Joseph laughs and points at the beast.
Gotcha!
The beast produces a sequence of annoyed whistles.
Come on, it's a joke. You were asking for it.
Aymar nudges Joseph with his massive head and sits beside him. They both relax on the lush grass. Joseph rests his back against Aymar's body, feeling his steady breath.
You know, Aymar, I've been thinking. What do you say we leave this place? Just pack up our bags and go. Well, I'll pack up my bags. I don't think you need bags, do you? What do you say?
Aymar produces a sequence of whistles. It's not clear if the unlikely friends understand each other or if Joseph is just having a one-sided conversation.
I guess you're right. Where would we go? Itorians control the whole country. It's just, what future do we have here?
Joseph closes his eyes and rests his head back on Aymar. Wide shot of both friends in the middle of the outworldly forest. Time passes. The sun rays land on Joseph's face. He opens his eyes.
Oh, look at the time. I'm late for Mary.
Joseph jumps to his feet and collects the fruit into his bag.
See you tomorrow, okay?
Joseph touches Aymar's face, and Aymar in turn leans his face into Joseph's palm.
Stay safe, okay?
The beast looks up abruptly. It sniffs the air as its demeanor changes. He becomes more aggressive, shifting around.
What's wrong?
Aymar, the beast, continues his irregular shifting.
Aymar, what's wrong with you?
Aymar looks at Joseph and growls. Tentacles drop down from his upper lip. Joseph spies the glint of metal between the trees. He ducks down in between the overgrown bush. A few camouflaged men in metal armor move swiftly through the trees.
Hunters. Run.
But before Aymar reacts, a spear comes flying and sinks right underneath his armor. Aymar rises on his hind feet, and in his writhing, he hits the crouching Joseph. Joseph rolls away from Aymar. One wrong step, and Aymar could accidentally trample Joseph to death. Joseph dives for a hollow in the tree trunk. Through the branches and heavy moss covering the hollow, Joseph watches Aymar run, but another spear hits him. This time, the spear is tied to an iron chain. Joseph notices the normally orange glowing veins on Aymar's body turn to dark purple around the spear wounds and spreads like a web through his veins. The pulsing of the veins becomes irregular. Joseph watches as the hunters close in on Aymar. Aymar, on his part, loses strength as more spears connected to chains sink into his body. The pulsating orange color has now dimmed through his body. The purple color permeates his veins. The hunters emerge from the thick forest.
Poison is working.
Itorians.
Aymar has now fallen still on the ground. The overgrown vegetation blocks him from Joseph's sight. The Itorian hunters congregate around Aymar and wrap the chains around his legs.
We got it, men. Bring in the cage.
Joseph watches as another hunter rides a horse-drawn animal cage. Joseph makes a decision. He abandons his hiding spot and sprints at the carriage. The hunters don't register his presence until he jumps onto the moving carriage. Joseph is very fast and has a strong build. He pushes the rider off the carriage. In his surprise, the rider doesn't give much of a struggle. He just tumbles over. The leader of the hunters takes notice of Joseph.
Get him!
Yeah!
Joseph urges the horses to move, but the hunters surround the cart. The horses rise on their hind feet and don't go any further. 3 hunters congregate around Joseph. He tries to fight them off, but soon they drag him off the carriage and hold him down. The main hunter turns to his compatriots.
Go on, men. Load the beast up into the cage.
The hunter walks to Joseph. The Itorian hunters have black hair and dark eyes. In comparison, Joseph's bright blue eyes now glow brighter than normal. It's clear it's in reaction to the fear and anxiety he must be feeling. The Itorian hunter looks at Joseph's eyes, mesmerized.
I can never get used to those eyes. You know, I've heard stories about how you strong Landians can tame these beasts. They say you can control their thoughts. Tell me, can you see inside my head with those eyes of yours?
Let him go.
The tales say you train them to attack our villages, kill our people.
The hunter looks at the subdued Aymar and then back at Joseph.
How the tables have turned.
My friend, please let him go. He didn't hurt any of you.
Your friend? It's your lucky day. Your friend here will make us a handsome profit.
Joseph is distressed for his friend.
Oh, don't worry. It isn't dead. His kind is resilient.
The hunter takes his sword out and points it at Joseph's neck.
Can't say the same about you. So I'll give you a choice. You can choose to die here, or you can choose to die later at somebody else's hand.
Joseph hesitates for a moment. His sight shifts between the hunter's sword and the unconscious Aymar.
Come on, slave. What's it gonna be?
Joseph takes a couple of steps back.
So sorry, Aymar.
He turns and runs. The hunter's laughs echo in the forest. We go to an aerial view. We zoom out until we transition into a top-down shot of a tabletop display. A detailed town miniature on the table gives us a general layout of the land we inhabit. Interior decoration shop, day. Mary is an 18-year-old woman, fair-skinned with black hair. Her eyes have an outworldly glow to them. Mary examines a delicate and detailed town miniature setup in the corner of the decoration shop. Her eyes are wide with intrigue. The brightness of their glow increases, reflecting her emotions. As we zoom out more, we see that she's dressed in poor clothing. The store is packed with people. They are mostly Itorians, dressed in fancy medieval-style clothing, signifying the time period they occupy. There are 2 Stronglandian store employees mopping the floor and cleaning. Their eyes' glow is dimmer than Mary's. They walk around hunched over, giving off a subdued and depressed demeanor. Mary circles around the display. As she does, she bumps into a 5-year-old Itorian boy, playing with a toy sword. The boy looks up at Mary and points the sword at her.
Oh no! Don't hurt me.
Get away from me, slave.
Mary's smile disappears. The boy's mother looks over and pulls her son closer to her.
What did I tell you about these people? Stay away from them.
Mary turns away towards a fancy dress hanging by the store window. A tear rolls down her cheek, which she promptly wipes away. The Itorian store owner stands beside Mary and adjusts some products on the shelves.
That dress will look fantastic on you.
Huh?
But it's a bit too expensive.
Doesn't matter anyway. It's not going to change who I am.
The store owner looks around and then leans over to Mary.
Maybe it's not you who needs to change.
Mary sneaks a look at the store owner but doesn't maintain eye contact. The door to the store opens and Marcus walks in. He's a tall Itorian, impeccably dressed, almost royalty. He is flanked by 2 powerful guards. The one on his left is more prominent, Dudley.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
The store owner walks over to Marcus. At Marcus's entrance, everyone looks at him in reverence. They bow slightly. Only Mary pretends she doesn't see him. The young boy a few feet from Mary is busy playing with a sword, fighting invisible enemies. The store owner walks towards Marcus with a nervous smile on his face.
Sir Marcus, I wasn't expecting you. How can I be of service? Anything you need?
Marcus holds up his hand to stop the store owner from continuing his banter.
What a progress report. The Anointment Festival for St. Patrick's Son is today. Is everything ready?
Oh dear. Of course, we've already prepared Libertarian Square since yesterday. My men are over there finalizing the setup as we speak. Here, let me show you the plan, if you follow me.
The store owner shows Marcus the town mock-up. He points at a decorated Liberation Square. He is clearly proud of his work. A few feet away, the 5-year-old boy tugs on his mother's dress.
What's an Anointment Festival?
It's when the firstborn son of the Itorian ruling family is ordained, the next count of Westerden realm. When he grows up, of course.
But you said Sir Patrick's son is an abomination, a half-breed.
Shh!
But it's too late. Sir Marcus and almost everyone in the store heard him. Marcus turns around.
How dare you disrespect our honorable patriarch?
Marcus walks toward the woman. He dwarfs her. Mary bravely steps between Marcus and the mother.
He's just a kid. I'm sure he didn't mean it.
The store owner is wide-eyed.
Oh dear.
Marcus looks her over and then turns to the store owner.
What's that doing here?
I'm sorry, sir. She's harmless. Comes in here once in a while.
I thought a respectable establishment such as this wouldn't let Stronglandian filth in. Maybe I should be taking my business elsewhere.
No, no, that won't be necessary.
The store owner hesitates for a moment, but then grabs Mary's arm.
Thief!
Mary snaps, surprised at his sudden aggression.
What?
What else did you steal? Tell me.
The store owner glances at Marcus, wanting to see if his display of anger pleases him. Mary struggles against the store owner's grasp. Marcus watches the store owner critically. Exterior decoration shop day. Joseph runs through the snowy streets of the town, glancing back every few steps. He slips a couple of times, but recovers himself before wiping out. Joseph clears the fresh snowflakes from his face as he slows down and looks around. People around him are moving quickly, trying to get out of the cold. Joseph stops at a light pole. The flame in the pole's glass enclosure dances wildly. He fidgets, shifting around, looking for Mary.
Mary. Come on, Mary, where are you?
He sees her through the store window. The store owner has Mary in his grasp. Joseph sprints to the store. Interior decoration shop day. The store owner drags Mary to the back of the store. Mary struggles, pulling him in the opposite direction.
Come along now. Stealing won't go unpunished on my watch.
It's me. You know me. I didn't steal anything.
Joseph comes in full force and shoves the man back right into Marcus, and in the same swift motion pulls Mary free from his grasp.
Leave my sister alone.
The store owner scrambles away from Marcus.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry, sir. Oh dear. Here, let me adjust your tunic.
Marcus shoves the store owner aside.
Insolent boy.
Marcus gestures to Dudley to get Joseph. He takes out an iron stamp and gives it to the second guard.
Eat this.
Dudley smiles as he walks toward Joseph and Mary.
Joseph, catch!
Mary snatches the wooden sword from the boy's grip.
Hey!
Mary checks it to Joseph. With a sharp swing, Joseph hits Dudley's hand with the sword as he tries to grab him. Dudley holds his hand in pain. Joseph continues to back up towards the door.
Mary, go!
But Mary doesn't leave his side. Dudley attacks again. Joseph uses his sword to fling a vase at Dudley. Dudley deflects it away with a swing of his arm. It smashes into a shelf with other delicate glass products. It shatters into a million pieces. The crash triggers a chain reaction. Other products on the shelf teeter for a moment and then crash down to the ground.
Oh dear. Oh dear, please stop.
Joseph swings again. This time Dudley grabs a hold of the sword and yanks it from his hand, but Joseph doesn't let go. He uses his momentum to smash into Dudley with his shoulder. They stammer backwards and topple over the town tabletop display. It crumbles down under their weight, causing more havoc. The store owner is close to tears.
Oh no, our town miniature. We've been working on this for weeks. Oh dear, my store is ruined.
Joseph scrambles to his feet and backs away, but Dudley trips him. Joseph falls backwards. Mary tries to help him up.
Let's go. Let's go.
But it is too late. Dudley is already on his feet. He grabs Joseph by the collar, lifting him up. He spins him around and immobilizes his movement. Mary tries to attack Dudley, but he easily kicks her away. She falls backwards, beside the boy and his mother. The mother helps Mary up, looking at her sympathetically. Mary tries to resume her interference, but the mother holds her back gently.
Don't. It'll only make things worse.
Mary looks at her brother, distressed. The second guard grabs the iron stamp from the flame, now glowing red from the heat. He hands it to Marcus.
Insolent slave. Do you know who I am?
All you invaders look alike.
Marcus brandishes the glowing red stamp. Its head is the size of a small coin with intricate markings on it. Joseph looks at it, scared. He tries to get free, but Dudley holds him tight. The other guard assists Dudley in immobilizing Joseph completely. They entangle his legs with theirs to prevent him from moving.
Invaders. We've brought order and civility to this savage land and its barbarous inhabitants.
The Stronglandian employees look on despondently. They themselves have different marks on their cheeks.
For a country called Stronglandia, it didn't put up much of a fight against the great Etorian people.
Great. You're a bunch of opportunistic...
Marcus slaps Joseph hard, interrupting him. He holds his face to the right and holds up the stamp close to Joseph's face. Joseph can feel its heat. He looks at it from the corner of his eyes, which are glowing brighter than ever.
I can see fear in your devil eyes. Good. Let this mark always remind you how all strong Landians are made to serve us.
Mary can't stop herself any longer. She charges Marcus, but the store owner holds her back.
Let me
Ow!
go.
The store owner covers her mouth with his hand. Mary bites it.
Oh dear.
He hides the pain behind a phony smile. Marcus stamps Joseph with a red-hot stamp on his left cheek. Joseph screams in agony. The guards let Joseph go. He falls to his knees. The store owner releases Mary and she runs to her brother.
Why? Why? He didn't do anything to you.
Marcus ignores her and turns to the store owner.
I expect you'll ensure this never happens again.
Marcus walks out accompanied by his guards. On the way out, Dudley kicks Joseph. All the people in the store stare at Joseph, whose hand hovers over the burn mark on his face, not daring to touch it. Mary helps him leave the store. The young boy and his mother watch on.
He got what he deserved.
The mother kneels beside her kid and holds both his shoulders firmly.
I don't want to ever hear you talk about them like that again. You hear?
The son is surprised, but nods obediently. Exterior decoration shop day. Joseph and Mary walk away from the store. Joseph holds a fistful of snow against his burnt face. Mary stops and gently takes Joseph's hand off his cheek. The snow has eased the intensity of the burn. The stamp's mark is now visible, a circle with a hammer in the middle.
This is all my fault.
We need to stay out of their way. You've seen how they think of us as nothing more than slaves.
Not all of them. Some of them are good people.
No, Mary, all of them. Did anyone in that store help us? No. Not a single Itorian lifted a finger.
Joseph, I'm not a baby. I understand they hurt us. But just because we've been hurt doesn't mean we stop doing the right thing.
I am doing the right thing, Mary. I am doing the right thing. I'm trying to protect you. Can't you see that? You're the one who's looking for good where there isn't any. We need to look out for ourselves.
Mary hugs Joseph.
I love you.
Joseph's
Why you gotta do that when I'm angry?
They part and start walking.
'Cause I know you can't be angry at your little sister when she hugs you.
Oh, so you're manipulating me.
I wouldn't dare.
Exterior edge of town day. A wide shot of an old town. The old buildings have a fairy tale architecture to them, except they are worn down and failing. In its prime, this town must have been a beauty, but neglect and the Itorian occupation have clearly taken its toll. The buildings once painted with bright colors are now faded and in tatters. All sorts of mold covers them. The roads are broken up. Even the strong Landian people walk around as if carrying a heavy burden. Smoke rises from chimneys and fires across the town. People huddle here and there around the fires to keep themselves warm. We close in on a blacksmith store. It's a small 2-story building, almost falling apart at the seams. The store is in the bottom level. The second level is the blacksmith's home. Around the back, there is a small barn with a few farm animals. It is the last building on the street before opening up into Liberation Square. The street is lined with other buildings. Some of them are taller, 3 or 4 levels, some are 1, but all are in bad shape. Liberation Square is a large open grassed area. The town surrounds it from the back and the left sides. A tumultuous river is on the right side of the square. It runs from the town all the way into the thick forest. A few hundred feet before the forest stands a tall watchtower. Marcus' soldiers, identified by his sign, a circle with a hammer in the middle, man weapons at the top of the watchtower. A dozen other soldiers patrol the perimeter. There is another watchtower in the distance, south of the first one. A stage is set up in the middle of Liberation Square. Servants, wearing shirts with a monochrome illustration of a lion's head, hang banners with the words like Anointment Festival and Itorians Celebrate with the House of Patrick. The banners are colorful. Other servants prepare tables with all sorts of food. There are 2 distinct groups of soldiers. The one with the lion insignia on their chest armor are scattered around the area helping with the setup, while the other group, who wear Marcus's sign, is not too involved in the preparations. They walk around mostly looking disgruntled, harassing strong Landian citizens. Interior blacksmith store continuous. Zachary the blacksmith takes out a sword from a furnace. The blade is red hot. He hammers it into shape. Joseph puts a bucket of water beside Zachary and winces at the sight of the hot metal. Zachary notices and stops what he's doing.
Doesn't look so bad.
Joseph is annoyed.
I'm gonna go check on Mary.
Zachary nods and continues hammering the metal. Joseph navigates around a bunch of stacked packages along the back wall. He hears a swish and looks back. A column of vapors rises from the bucket of water. Zachary dips the sword into it. Joseph walks around the stacks of stuff to a door covered by a curtain. He enters into the interior room. Day. Mary settles in the middle of a room of young kids. The oldest is only 6 years old. They are all strong Landians, as evidenced by their unique glowing eyes, except for one, Saul, who's in the corner alone. Joseph stands on the opposite corner of the room, sneaking a dissatisfied look at him. He walks to Saul.
Hey, kid, wouldn't your father be looking for you?
No.
Mary gestures for Saul to come sit close by her.
Saul, come sit beside me.
Okay.
Saul sits beside Mary. Joseph rolls his eyes, annoyed, as Mary fires him a look.
Welcome to the first day of classes. I'm so happy all of you could make it. Looking at your innocent faces fills me with much hope. Okay, I want you guys to show me your hands.
Every one of the kids raise their hands, including Saul.
What do you guys see above your thumb?
The kids look at the half circle with intricate markings tattooed around their thumb area.
People might think what identifies us as strong Landians is our glowing eyes or our fair hair, but that's not true. It's our emblem of unity. Okay, I want every one of you to turn and shake the hand of the person next to you.
The kids pair up and hold hands such that their emblems of unity connect, and they make a full circle. It's as if two pieces of a puzzle come together and made a complete picture.
This circle represents the core of who we are. Now turn to another person and shake their hands.
The kids do that, and the picture they form when their emblems connect is different, yet complete and makes sense.
You see, we are all different. We are all unique. But these individual differences are meant to come together to form a unified whole. Each one of us with their gifts and unique characteristics are like members who form the entire body of the strong Landian people. We cannot exist in the full meaning of the word outside this body.
But I don't have that tattoo.
Well, buddy, it's an emblem of unity, not a tattoo, and you're not strong Landian, are you?
Mary fires Joseph another look.
What Joseph means is that while the emblem of unity is unique to strong Landians, we believe the truth it represents is common to all people. So even though you might not have it, it doesn't mean you can't live in that truth as well.
Joseph turns to the kids.
But, kids, you gotta remember, Itorians want to erase our beliefs. They are not interested in the truth. They are not interested in fairness for all, freedom for all. They are only interested
Joseph.
in one thing, controlling all of us. That's why they outlawed this emblem. Fewer and fewer newborns have it because parents would be thrown in prison and never be seen again if they gave it to their kids.
Thanks, Joseph. I think it's time to move to our next segment before our time runs out.
The siblings exchange an angry look. Joseph raises his arms in surrender and backs out towards the door. He exits to the interior blacksmith store, continuous. Joseph squeezes through the boxes on the way to the main store area. Zachary polishes the sword.
Mary's still at it?
Yeah,
She's a smart girl, keeping our kids educated about our ways.
that's a losing battle.
Zachary throws Joseph the sword he just forged.
Try this on for size.
Joseph makes a few skillful moves with it.
What's one sword against so many?
Joseph stops when he spots an Itorian man, Gamaliel, approach the store with 3 soldiers. He puts the sword down.
Whoa.
Whoa, I told her she can't keep that kid around.
Huh?
Look over there.
Zachary looks at Gamaliel and the soldiers, worried.
I'm gonna get them out. Stall.
Zachary nods as Joseph retreats to the back room. Zachary meets the approaching men.
Gentlemen, how can I help you today?
This is the man I told you about. He's holding a strong Landian school somewhere here.
School. Sirs, this is a blacksmith store.
My son told me all about it. It's been happening under our noses for years. They're brainwashing our kids with strange Stronglandian lies.
The soldiers spread through the store, searching, knocking things over.
Please, sirs, there's no need to make a mess. I assure you there's nothing here.
One of the soldiers sees the curtain-covered door and moves the curtain to the side. He gives Zachary a cold stare.
Over here.
Over here.
The soldiers and Gamliel walk over. The third soldier grabs a hold of the distressed Zachary.
Stay with the blacksmith. You'll answer for this.
Interior room continuous. Joseph manages to get all of the kids out through a small escape door in the back of the room. He has put an iron bar against the door leading in from the store to block it from opening. The soldiers outside slam against it. Before him and Mary can exit, the soldiers crash through.
See? I told you. Get them.
You, hold.
Joseph pushes Mary outside.
Run.
The soldiers follow them. Exterior back alley continuous. Joseph and Mary hide in the middle of a haystack.
I told you it's a bad idea to have that Idorian kid around. You see, his father came looking for him.
It's not his fault. He's just a kid.
I can't believe you still making excuses for them. Wake up, Mary!
Here they are.
Joseph looks up and sees the soldiers approach them.
Okay, we gotta split up. I'll get them to follow me.
Joseph pushes the haystack and it lands on the soldiers.
Go!
Mary runs. Joseph rams one of the soldiers and that soldier hits the one behind him. They both fall to the ground. Joseph bursts out running.
Get up, you fool. Go after the girl. I'll get the boy.
Exterior street continuous. Mary runs through the snow and mud layering the road. She approaches an intersection. The soldier is hot at her tail. Mary makes a left turn and disappears from view. Point of view, soldier 2. The soldier reaches the intersection, but Mary seems to have disappeared. A horse-drawn carriage accompanied by a few guards on horses strut along heading towards Liberation Square. One of the guards is Elfreda. Elfreda is a 40-something Stronglandian woman, beautiful. Her hair is dark with gray streaks running through it. Her blue eyes glow fiercely. The soldier looks around until he sees Mary hiding behind a few barrels. He pretends he doesn't see her, but walks in her direction. Mary bolts out of her position, narrowly avoiding the soldier. He chases her down and catches her right in the path of the caravan.
Got you, little devil.
Elfreda rides to the soldier as the carriage comes to a full stop.
Whoa, soldier. What has this girl done to you? This is a security matter.
I didn't do anything wrong. Let me go.
Shut your mouth, girl.
He drags Mary away from the cart.
Stop.
The soldier snaps back and takes a knee when he sees Sir Patrick. Patrick wears a knight's armor. There is a lion head engraved on his chest piece. A similar emblem is engraved on the side of the carriage. Elfreda backs up, making way for Sir Patrick.
Sir Patrick, I'm sorry to disturb you.
Mary doesn't kneel. The soldier pulls her down forcefully.
Kneel down.
I will not.
Elfreda admires Mary.
What's going on here?
This girl has broken Nithorian law. She's been caught teaching kids their lies.
I did nothing wrong.
Jamie, Patrick's wife, a Stronglandian woman, blonde hair, bright glowing blue eyes, walks out of the carriage carrying her son, a beautiful child, almost 1 year old. He has the same darker hair as Itorian's, but his eyes have the familiar Stronglandian outworldly glow. Mary stares at the baby, surprised.
My dear husband, surely you will not allow this soldier to arrest an innocent girl.
Patrick looks at his wife, then turns to Mary.
But it is the law.
Don't talk to me about the law, soldier. I reside over it. Better go and leave.
The soldier lets go of Mary and leaves in haste after bowing in respect to Sir Patrick. Jamie approaches Mary, who stares at the baby.
He's beautiful, isn't he?
Yes. I've never seen...
I know.
Jamie, love, we need to get going. Our son's anointing ceremony is about to start.
Isn't there anything we can do for her?
Patrick turns to the carriage and calls out.
Hadrian! Hadrian!
A young Itorian boy, 17 years old, pops out of the carriage.
Hadrian, make sure this young lady gets home safely. Yes, sir.
Jamie smiles at Mary, and Mary returns the smile. Jamie and Patrick go back inside the carriage. The caravan starts moving. Elfreda passes Mary.
Stay strong.
Elfreda gives Mary a wink. Mary smiles back. Interior carriage continuous. Jamie doesn't look happy. She watches the poor...
Break one.
Okay, any thoughts, feedback, anything you guys would like to point out?
The first thing that it struck me was the boy, the 5-year-old boy, has pretty like complex sentences. I think his like 3 lines were a little bit mature, if that makes sense.
Okay, let me just write this stuff down. Okay, so that's in the scene in the decoration shop, right?
In the shop, yeah.
Okay.
Like he either needs to just be like a little bit older, or the sentences need to be
Simplified.
simpler, or maybe like if he's Itorian, that's how they talk. But it just, to me, it just seemed like it was a little bit mature.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Y'all sound so good.
Yeah. Yay!
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. What kind of feedback are you looking for? Is it more the character dialogue, or what is it that your goal is for this?
I'm opening it up for any kind of thoughts that you guys might have on the story, the dialogue, characterization, the characters. Do they make sense? Is the storyline, attractive? Does it keep your attention? Stuff like that.
I write as well, so take this
Sure,
all
yeah.
with a grain of salt. And everyone has their ways of doing stuff. I find that there's a lot of explanation. Like I can tell you yourself really has this world inside of your head, but it reads a lot like a novel. And I find with script writing, you have to get really concise and to the point and really fast to sort of hook your reader. So for me, like reading that, seeing the big pages of dialogue, from what I've heard in my experiences pitching scripts, is when they see these huge dialogues, readers will sometimes get a little bit overwhelmed. Particular in your first 10 pages is super important. So anyways, that's just a tip.
So you mean you're talking about dialogue or the descriptions?
The descriptions,
okay.
Mostly. The dialogue seems to be flowing pretty well and pretty precise in between everybody. But just condensing the actions and just getting quickly to
More
it, like
precise.
what does the audience see? Like you see it in your head and show exactly what the audience sees. You've been describing characters really well. That's one of my biggest things, is when people are like, this character looks like this. And I always love introducing characters in the middle of an action and you do have them doing something, which keeps your interest in these characters. But just keep it tight and just, that's my grain of salt advice.
No,
totally don't want to change your style.
No.
Yeah.
That was going to be my comment too.
I feel bad for you reading so much.
But just to expand a little bit on the whole detailed action thing, I agree. It does read a little bit more like a novel, which is wonderful when you have a definite style to how you write. But yeah, more of the action and less of the telling. And then especially because I feel like you're probably planning to direct this, so you have those like wide angle like there's a transition shot coming up on 28. I would nix those completely. And if it's important to you to see it that way, find a way that you can describe that in that way without using the words transition shot or wide angle.
Okay, so remove the like shot descriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be giving it to anybody else, or if you were planning on submitting it somewhere, cut those right away.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
I just had a question. Are you envisioning this as live action or as animation?
Animated.
Okay.
So that's my current plan right now.
Oh, cool.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was thinking animated, that the visual stuff probably helps more than if it was just designed as live action. So
Yeah, I'm thinking live action. That's nothing they're gonna like completely outside the budget. But with animation, I think we can probably. I can probably do a scene or something like that, and it's a little bit more feasible.
Amazing. That's so cool. Because then you can have all these like intense stunts and everything, and not worry about
Hurting anyone.
the budget.
Yeah. There's one scene that like the shop scene, I'm planning to do it like as a trial run to get a feel of how it will work.
Cool.
But we'll see how that goes.
Very cool.
Cool. Continue on, or I'm gonna turn on the light. Just give me a second, sorry. The lights are just completely dead.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but your mic is kind of like
Right?
popping, clicking.
It's what? Oh, that's
It's
weird.
kind of like clicking.
Sorry?
I'm talking to
Mike.
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's
popping?
It's not clicking anymore, but it was for a bit.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Is it stopped?
Yeah, it's
Sounds
better
good
now.
yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Maybe it was, I might have been clipping a little bit on this end. Sorry.
All right. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Interior carriage continuous. Jamie doesn't look happy. She watches the poor people outside hustling along. The luxury of the carriage stands in contrast to the torn down condition of its surroundings. Patrick puts his hand on Jamie's.
Things will change.
When? Before this young lady gets arrested again? Thrown in jail? Or maybe before more of my people freeze to death? When will it stop? I can't continue seeing my people suffer while I live in luxury.
I've listened to you, and we're anointing our son the next count of the Western realms. Do you understand the risk I'm taking? Such a thing has never been done in the history of Vitoria.
Jamie looks out of the window and doesn't respond. Transition shot. Camera pans up, showing Hadrian walking with Mary. Then, as it rises, we see Joseph climb the side of a building a few blocks ahead. Exterior roof of building continuous. Joseph makes it to the roof and runs. The chasing soldier lags behind. Joseph approaches the end of the roof and grinds to a halt. He looks back and sees a soldier catching up, his sword ready. Exterior street level continuous. Alfreda and the rest of the guards ride in front of Patrick's carriage, heading towards Liberation Square. The closer they get, the more crowded it gets.
Keep sharp, men. This is the nightmare scenario we've been preparing for. Crowds, no control.
She hears yells and turns towards the commotion. A few folks point at the roof where Joseph and the soldier face off. The soldier approaches Joseph confidently. Exterior roof of building continuous. Joseph's eyes shift from the sword to the soldier's face. He then backs up and makes a dangerous run towards the edge of the roof. Exterior street level continuous. Alfreda watches Joseph jump from the roof and holds onto the edge of a balcony on the opposite building, which is 3 stories higher than the first. Joseph climbs up the wall skillfully. The guard, taken by surprise, attempts the same jump but doesn't make it. He hits the side of the building and falls down a 1-story drop. The guard is disoriented.
Keep to the plan. I'll check this out.
Alfreda jumps off her horse and sprints into motion towards the taller building. It has a scaffold erected against one face of it. Exterior roof of building continuous. Joseph makes it up to the roof of the taller building and looks behind him, but the guard isn't there. He lets out a sigh of relief and heads towards the scaffold. Before he gets to the scaffold, Alfreda jumps off of it on the roof right in his face. Joseph tries to retract that, but Alfreda makes a surprising move, bouncing off a half-built wall and lands beside Joseph. Before he knows it, she kicks his legs from underneath him. Joseph is a good fighter, though, and he takes Alfreda down with him.
Turning on your own people?
They roll around. Alfreda ends up on top of Joseph with a dagger at his neck. She turns his face to the side and looks at the mark Marcus stamped on his face.
You belong to the house of Marcus.
I don't belong to anyone. Maybe you do.
Are you plotting against Jamie? Did Marcus plant you here?
Joseph tries to struggle, but Alfreda presses the dagger to his neck.
Tell me.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I did was protect my sister.
Joseph and Elfrida lock gazes. Both of their eyes shine with this outworldly glow. Exterior street day. Hadrian and Mary walk down the street.
I can find my way from here.
Sir Patrick ordered me to make sure you're safe. I cannot disobey.
You always do what you're told?
You mean you don't?
Well, when it makes sense.
Hadrian is not paying attention, though. He steps into a pile of horse manure.
Ugh, disgusting.
Hadrian backs up, trying to wipe off his boots.
Disgusting. How can people live like this?
Hadrian trips on the uneven ground and holds on to the nearest thing within reach. Unfortunately, it turns out to be a water-powered spinning gear which runs a wine press. His long sleeve gets tangled in the rotating gear and his hands get pulled towards its teeth. It'll break every bone in his hand. Hadrian is terrified. He tries to pull free but can't. He's moments away from losing his hand. Suddenly, a wooden rod gets shoved in the mechanical part of the gears, halting it. Hadrian looks up and sees Mary on the other end of the rod. But the rod isn't going to hold much longer. It cracks under the force of the gears.
Pull yourself free!
Hadrian tugs forcefully. His sleeves tear and he falls backwards, landing in the horse manure he tried to avoid in the first place. Mary lets go of the rod and rushes to Hadrian.
Are you all right?
She helps him up.
Show me your hand.
Mary takes his hand and examines it. She notices an old scar which bears a striking resemblance in its shape to the emblem of unity she has on hers. She stares at it for a moment and then traces its outline with her finger.
Where did you get this?
Oh, I don't remember. Had it forever.
Hadrian pulls his hand away awkwardly. Mary turns him around and looks at the back of his pants, now dirty with the horse manure. She wrinkles her nose.
I don't know how to tell you this, but you kind of stink.
Hadrian notices his dilemma for the first time.
Ugh, disgusting. How am I supposed to go to the ceremony like this?
It is a problem, isn't it?
Mary looks around and sees a shop manned by an older Stronglandian man.
Come with me.
They walk to the Stronglandian man.
Peace and prosperity to you, good sir. My friend here is in need of some spare clothes. I don't have money on me, but I was wondering if you would show kindness.
The man looks at Mary, then at Hadrian. He reaches down and grabs a rather old overall and gives it to Mary.
Thank you, dear sir.
Mary passes the overall to Hadrian.
Oh, you cannot compel me to wear that. It's an insult.
I think you mean thank you, right? You can always go to the ceremony smelling like horse manure.
Hadrian reluctantly takes the overall.
Where am I going to change?
How about over behind that fence there?
Hadrian looks at the fence and then at Mary in disbelief.
You can't be. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Humiliating.
Mary turns around.
Don't worry. I won't look.
Hadrian's shoulders drop and then walks begrudgingly towards the half-torn fence. Mary notices some people congregate below a building towards the end of the street, which opens to Liberation Square. They point up at the roof of the building. She walks closer and gets a better look at what's going on. It takes her a moment to realize it's Joseph on the roof with a woman guard.
Joseph?
Hadrian approaches her wearing the old overall over his fancy attire. He looks ridiculous.
Who's Joseph?
My brother.
Mary rushes toward the crowd. Hadrian follows. Exterior roof of building continuous. Elfrida puts her dagger back in her sheath.
Where is your sister now?
I still don't believe me. I'm trying to find her and you're delaying me.
Joseph!
Joseph looks down and sees Mary at the bottom of the building.
Are you okay?
No, thank God you're okay.
Joseph gives Elfrida an "I told you so" look.
I'm fine.
Is that your sister?
That's what I've been telling you.
That's when the soldier makes it to the roof. He takes out his sword.
Stop that slave!
Joseph and Elfrida snap towards the soldier.
Stand down, soldier.
I can't do that.
Elfrida gets in between him and Joseph.
Bloody hell, do you know who I am?
I don't answer to you. I only answer to Sir Marcus.
Interior street level continuous. Mary watches the events unfold.
What did your brother do?
We're guilty of nothing except being Stronglandians.
That's ridiculous. Our laws are fair to all.
Mary looks at him frustrated.
What rock have you been living under?
Hadrian is taken aback by Mary's verbal assault.
Adrian,
Hadrian turns around.
You don't even know who you really are.
Hadrian looks at her confused, then back at his father.
Father!
Mary looks back and sees Marcus ride inside a carriage.
Oh no.
what are you wearing? And what are you doing talking to that strong Landian filth?
I'm not. I'm just doing a job.
Mary looks at him disappointed and then heads into the building.
You shouldn't be here right now. You should be back in the castle. Get inside. Now.
Hadrian complies. Exterior roof of building continuous. The standoff between Elfreda, the soldier, and Joseph continues. You don't want to do this. Sorry.
Get out of my way, strong Landian. This is none of your business.
I am the head of Lady Jamie's personal guard, Sir Patrick's wife.
It's not for long.
Elfreda takes out her sword.
What do you mean by that?
Take it however you want it.
Joseph takes the opportunity as both Elfreda and the soldier are busy with each other, and he jumps onto the scaffold. The sudden weight of the scaffold causes the scaffold to break away from the building, shaking dangerously. Some of the wooden blocks slip off and fall 3 stories to the ground. The crowd on the ground back away. Joseph loses his balance. He falls off the scaffold, arms flailing. Luckily, he's able to grab the edge of the scaffold and hangs on for dear life. Joseph tries to swing his leg so he can wrap it around the scaffold pole to pull himself up, but fails. The scaffold leans dangerously. He looks down and sees sharp stakes around the scaffold. If he falls, he'll most likely be impaled and die.
Help!
Joseph's fingers ache and slip, bringing him closer to an unceremonial demise. Suddenly, the scaffold moves closer to the building. He looks up and sees Elfreda and Mary. Mary holds a rope attached to the scaffold and pulls at it with all her strength to prevent the scaffold from toppling over. Elfreda reaches out to him.
Grab my hand!
The distance between them isn't that great, but to Joseph, it feels like a mile away. He gathers all his strength and swings his body. With a forward swing, he leaps towards Elfreda and grabs her hand. Elfreda demonstrates her strength even more clearly when she pulls him up and onto the roof. They both lay there panting. Joseph sees Mary's face hover over him.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
He turns to Elfreda as he gets up.
thank you.
As Joseph gets up, he sees the soldier lying in a pool of his own blood. He freezes. Mary stands beside him, holding onto his arm. They both stare at the dead soldier.
You better get out of here.
What about you? Is that going to cause you a problem?
Don't worry about me.
Joseph and Mary don't move. They keep staring at the dead soldier.
Go!
Joseph nudges Mary to move, but then stops and looks back at Elfreda.
Yeah, I'm sorry I accused you of working for the Itorians.
Elfreda gives him a half smile.
I have a feeling we'll meet again. Now go!
Joseph and Mary head off. Exterior bridge later. Joseph and Mary sit on a bridge over a stream which branches from the main river. The water stream rushes below them as it heads deeper into the town. They sit in silence, staring straight ahead. They are not too far from where the ceremony is taking place. Exterior Liberation Square, continuous. Sir Patrick, Jamie, Elfreda, and their party proceed to the center of Liberation Square, where an elevated stage has been set up. A choir walks ahead of them, but then parts into 2 groups as they approach the stage. One group stands on the left and another on the right. Patrick and his party climb the stairs to the top of the stage and stand in a semicircle around a golden basin set up in the middle. All through the choir sings solemn hymns. One group sings and the other responds to them, as if they are having a sung conversation. They are using a foreign language. Sir Patrick takes a step closer to the basin. Jamie, carrying the child, does the same. A priest dressed in a white robe with golden designs on it steps up and stands in front of the basin. Patrick to his right and Jamie to his left. The choir continues chanting their solemn hymns. Exterior bridge continuous. Joseph turns to Mary.
I have to leave. There is no future for us here.
Where are we going to go?
Anywhere. Go north, away from the Itorians.
Abandon our people?
Joseph stands up and faces the other way.
This isn't a life, Mary.
We have responsibilities.
I'm so tired worrying about...
Me? You want to live your own life. I understand. I'm not going to be upset if you leave.
Mary.
Mary starts to say something but then stops.
I'm not a baby anymore. It really is okay. Besides, I can't live with myself if I abandon the kids we teach.
Enough with your dreams already. There will be no fairy tale ending for us. We have to look out for ourselves.
Mary doesn't respond. She watches the ceremony continue on. The chanting has stopped. Exterior Liberation Square continuous. The priest picks up a small knife from beside the golden basin. He gestures for Sir Patrick and Jamie. They both extend their right hands. The priest cuts both of their hands with the knife, a small cut. Jamie and Patrick squeeze their hands, and their blood is mingled in the basin. The priest lifts up a small oil glass bottle above his head.
This oil has anointed and blessed the very first Itorian counts, our patriarchs, our ancestors of old, and it continues to do so now.
The priest pours a portion of it into the basin and uses a golden spoon to mingle the oil with Patrick and Jamie's blood. He dips his thumb in the mingled blood and oil and approaches Jamie's baby.
With this holy anointment, we declare that this child shall sit on the throne of his father when the time comes.
An unhappy murmur goes through the crowd. A few soldiers standing in the back grumble. Their chest armor bears the emblem of the House of Marcus. One of the soldiers is the one who stayed back with Zachary.
Heresy. Our most precious traditions is being diluted by the blood of a strong Landian. How long are we going to stand for this?
His comrades nod in agreement. The priest approaches an eagle tied from its leg to a stationary stand. He dips the golden spoon in the basin and sprinkles the eagle with the blood mingled with oil. He then unhooks the eagle, and it flies off.
Let the future of our nation soar to new heights under the rule of the House of Patrick.
The choir starts to sing again. Exterior bridge continuous. Joseph snorts at the Itorian traditions.
Yeah, and they call us superstitious.
Joseph turns away from the ceremony and looks off in the distance to the edge of the forest. He sees something which attracts his attention. There are suspicious movement there. Men, carts. His sudden silence attracts Mary's attention. She looks at him and then follows his gaze.
I've seen those guys before.
Mary looks and sees a horse-drawn animal cage stop at the edge of the forest. There are a few men holding spears and torches. Joseph recognizes the hunter who led the others in capturing Aymar. Exterior, edge of forest, continuous. The hunters dip their spears in a bucket with thick liquid and stab at some creature inside the cage. The more they do, the more the creature gets angry and rocks the cage back and forth dangerously. They are sufficiently far enough that the singing of the ceremony choir and the people cover the growls of the caged creature. After the men stab at it multiple times, they open the cage. A fearsome forest beast with a notable scar on its face jumps out, disoriented. It's Aymar. Aymar tumbles around, clearly angry. Exterior bridge, continuous.
Aymar!
The beast turns to the men unsteadily. It tips over and gets up again. Exterior, edge of forest, continuous. The effect of the poison is apparent over all its body. His veins pulsate at irregular intervals. His normally glowing orange eyes have turned to black. His veins have turned dark purple around the stab wounds. The dark veins expand in a web effect. The wounds mend quickly, but the effect of the poison lingers on. The guards use the spears and the torches to keep him at bay. One of the guards extends a spear with a few clothing items dangling on its tip. Joseph watches as the beast smells the clothing items, tenses up, and turns around. Exterior bridge continuous.
Nope, that's me. Sorry. What are they doing to him?
Aymar smells the air, then explodes into a sprint straight at the ceremony. At first, it's unsteady, but seems to regain its strength quickly.
We have to go.
We have to warn them.
Mary sprints towards the ceremony. Joseph runs and catches up with her.
You're crazy.
They approach the ceremony. Joseph jumps on a food table. He knocks some of it off. His sudden action attracts Sir Patrick's attention, as well as Jamie's and Alfreda's.
Beast! Beast! An attack is coming! Beast!
Patrick looks in the direction Joseph points and kicks into gear almost immediately. He turns to Alfreda.
Take Jamie back to the castle.
Sir Patrick jumps off the pedestal in the midst of his soldiers.
The rest with me.
A soldier gives him a spear and a shield. They hustle to face off the beast, which is approaching quickly. Joseph turns to Mary.
Are you happy now? Let's get out of here.
We have to help Jamie and the baby.
They have their guards. Mary, listen to me. Imar,
Who?
the beast, he's not acting right. Those hunters did something to him.
Joseph takes Mary's hand and drags her away from Imar's path. As they head off, Mary sees Elfreda and 2 guards escorting Jamie off towards their convoy. Joseph looks back and sees the enraged Imar wreaking havoc to everything in his path, knocking off carts, tables, people. Sir Patrick and his soldiers face off against it. They try to push it back with their spears. Archers shoot at Imar with their arrows. Imar roars. Exterior, Liberation Square, continuous. The crowds are running right and left. Screams and hysteria have dominated the setting. In the mayhem, Mary notices 3 hooded men attack Jamie's group. Mary tugs at Joseph.
Look.
Mary points at the attack happening.
Mary, this isn't our business.
Mary looks at Joseph annoyed and pulls free from him. She runs towards Jamie's group.
Oh, come on.
Joseph tries to head after her, but a mob of panicked people pushes him farther away from Mary. Mary rushes towards the conflict between the 3 hooded men and Jamie's guards. The crowd running around panicked slows Mary down. In the meantime, one of the attackers successfully stabs the guard protecting Jamie. He falls to the ground. Elfreda and the remaining guards step in front of her for protection. Mary has an idea. She jumps on a few boxes and starts yelling.
Another beast! Look over there!
This has the desired effect. The panicked mob changes direction and heads directly at Jamie. They run right through the conflict. The confusion gives Elfreda the opportunity to eliminate one of the attackers. Mary runs straight at Jamie, who stands behind the second guard, and Elfreda as they fight the attackers. Mary touches Jamie's shoulder. Jamie snaps at her, afraid, but calms down when he sees Mary. She sees Mary.
It's you.
Come with me. I know a good hiding spot.
Jamie hesitates.
Your guards don't seem to be doing so well.
On cue, the other guard is stabbed. He falls back right into Jamie. The remaining 2 attackers only have Elfreda to contend with. Although she fights fiercely, it's still 2 against 1. As she defends against an attack from the one on the left, the other leaves the fight and heads for Jamie. Jamie gives the baby to Mary.
Take him to safety.
Mary stands with the baby, confused. The attacker grabs Jamie and pulls her back.
Run!
Mary backs up, watching Jamie get dragged away. Elfreda kicks the other attacker away and goes to retrieve Jamie. The remaining attacker recovers from the kick and charges Mary.
No, get my son to safety now!
The attacker tries to snag the baby from Mary, but suddenly he is stabbed through the back. Mary covers the baby's eyes and turns away from the gruesomeness of the scene. Elfreda looks back, and just like that, Jamie is sucked away into the crowd and out of sight. Elfreda turns to Mary.
Let's go.
Mary and Elfreda run away, but they are intercepted by another attacker, a large hooded man. He approaches them with his sword, ready. Suddenly, Joseph charges him from the back and slams him with a thick piece of wood. It shatters on his back, but it doesn't knock the guy out, only gets him slightly disoriented and way more angry. The attacker swipes his sword at Joseph, but Joseph dives and rolls, avoiding the deadly impact. As the bad guy turns to Elfreda, Joseph charges again and tackles him to the ground. The man's hood comes off his head, and Joseph gets a good look at his face. It's Dudley. Dudley pushes Joseph off of him. Elfreda attacks Dudley, forcing him to abandon his assault on Joseph. Elfreda and Dudley have a heated sword fight. She is quite skilled, but Dudley is too. Joseph picks up a brick and throws it at Dudley, distracting him. This gives Elfreda the opportunity to jump in the air and deliver a fierce kick to Dudley's chest. It sends him tumbling backwards into a fruit stand. It buckles and breaks under his weight. The fruit goes flying everywhere, but Elfreda knows this is only a short respite.
Follow me.
Mary and Joseph run after Elfreda towards the horse-drawn carriage.
Why are they after the baby?
Isn't it obvious?
They pass by the scaffold, which Joseph almost fell off. There are stones and other material on it, and finally arrive at the carriage. Joseph looks back and sees Dudley catching up with them.
Get in.
Dudley charges Elfreda. Elfreda continues fighting him. Joseph helps Mary into the carriage. Joseph looks back and sees another hooded man head through the crowd towards them.
There is another one.
Joseph looks around until his sight lands on the scaffold. He gets an idea and immediately puts it into action.
What are you doing?
Joseph gets to the scaffold and starts to push it. The wood of it creaks and it teeters dangerously. With much effort, the scaffold, which is already dislodged due to Joseph's earlier escape attempt, tips over and everything on it comes down on the approaching attacker. Alfreda continues fighting Dudley. She avoids a hit from his sword and slashes his leg with her weapon. The injury only slows him down. The scaffold and the equipment on it has buried the other attacker, but only momentarily. He's not fully incapacitated. Alfreda kicks Dudley in his injured leg. He falls back, dropping his sword. Joseph charges him and pushes him away, then picks up the sword.
I'm with you.
Alfreda sees the other attacker get up from underneath the rubble. Dudley also gets up, albeit in pain, and takes out a dagger. He prepares to resume his assault on Alfreda.
Take the baby and go.
What about you?
Meet me tomorrow by the South Watchtower. Don't trust anyone. Now go.
Joseph hesitates for a moment.
Bloody hell, go!
Alfreda charges the two attackers. Joseph backs up to the carriage, jumps in, and takes the rider's seat.
Yeah!
Joseph rattles the reins and the horses start picking up speed. Joseph looks back and sees Alfreda engaged in a hopeless sword battle with the two men. Joseph rides the cart furiously to try and get as far away as possible. Exterior, edge of town, evening. Joseph continues to ride the cart furiously. He occasionally looks back to make sure he's not being followed. Interior, carriage, evening. Mary sits with the baby on her lap. Everything is
going to be all right, baby. We're going to find your dad, okay?
The baby coos.
Mary, you all right back there?
Better. How do you think we'll get him to Sir Patrick?
Good question.
Some movement in the shadows of the tree line to their left attract Mary's attention. She puts the baby down in a cushioned crib, secured to the floor of the cart, such that it doesn't tip over.
Hold on, buddy, okay? Be right back.
The baby stands, but he can't peek over the edge of the crib. The sides are too tall for him. Exterior, carriage, evening. Mary moves to the front of the carriage and sticks her head out. She looks this way and that.
Yeah, we have to get rid of this carriage soon. Every guard and his brother will be looking for it. And I'm betting some of them are in on this coup.
Mary doesn't answer. She's looking at the edge of the forest to their left. The town is on their right. It's dark, except for a few fires here and there.
What's wrong?
Mary squints at the darkness. She sees some movement, but then nothing.
I don't know. I thought I saw something. Watch out!
Out of nowhere, Imar emerges from the thick tree line and charges them. Joseph panics. He rattles the horse's reins.
Yeah, faster, faster!
The beast is fast, though. It rams the side of the carriage. The carriage goes on its right wheels for a moment and then slams down on all four. Mary gets knocked back into the carriage. Joseph looks back.
Imar, it's me. Snap out of it.
But Imar doesn't seem to recognize Joseph. Interior, carriage, evening.
Are you all right?
Mary crawls to the crying baby in the crib. She holds him so he doesn't keep bouncing around in the crib.
Hold on, kid. Joseph will take care of us. He always has.
Mary hums him a lullaby. Exterior, edge of town, evening. Joseph rides frantically. Imar closes in. He rams the side of the carriage again. Joseph swerves. Interior, carriage, evening. The carriage shakes as Mary holds the baby tight. A box on the side of the carriage tips over and a bag of food rolls out. Mary helps the baby sit down. She puts a couple of cushions around him.
Hold on, baby. I got an idea.
The carriage gets rammed again, and she loses her balance. She struggles to reach the bag of food. Another shake. The bag rolls into her grasp. She takes a hold of it and heads to the carriage's side door. Exterior, carriage, evening. Mary opens the door and throws the bag at Imar.
Take that!
The beast jumps an impressive jump and devours the bag whole in midair. It slows down for a minute as it chews the food. The carriage's right wheel goes over a rock. Mary is flung out of the side door, but manages to hold on to it. She dangles freely with only her hold onto the door, keeping her from getting thrown outside. Joseph looks back and sees the perilous situation.
Mary!
Keep going! It's still after us.
Mary struggles to reach the side of the carriage. Joseph looks back and sees the beast gaining. Mary is very vulnerable. If the beast catches up, Mary is dead. Joseph looks ahead and sees the road split into two. The left side is elevated. He decides on a dangerous gambit. Joseph aligns the left side of the cart where Mary is hanging out from to the elevated area. The wheels go up on the elevated part, lifting the cart to ride on its right wheels. Mary flies back into the carriage, and the door closes behind her. Joseph adjusts the horses to the left, and the cart slams down on all its wheels again. Joseph looks inside the carriage and sees Mary curl to the baby. She gives Joseph the thumbs up. The beast is now to their left on the elevated part of the land. Joseph swerves away to the right onto a branch of the road. Just as the beast leaps toward them, it lands behind the carriage. Joseph looks back at the beast. It's too close for comfort. He looks forward and sees a watchtower a few hundred meters away. The watch area at the top of the watchtower is lit by a fire. He can see the silhouette of soldiers.
Look, soldiers.
He changes the direction of the cart and heads directly at the tower.
If they see Eimer, they'll shoot at him. Maybe that'll drive him away.
Mary looks out of the window at the beast, which is closing in again.
Better hurry.
Exterior, edge of town, evening. Joseph and Mary's carriage gets closer to the tower. The beast is just a few meters behind them. Exterior, watchtower, evening. 3 soldiers walk along the watchtower. Soldier 1 notices the carriage approaching.
Look at that.
The other 2 soldiers walk up behind him. They look at what he's pointing at.
You crazy? What's he doing?
They look carefully. In the failing light, it's hard to get a clear view. They make out Joseph and Mary waving at them. Joseph and Mary keep pointing at the beast behind them, but it's blocked from the soldiers' view by the carriage. Joseph swerves, and they see the beast.
Beast! Dip your arrows in the poison.
The soldiers take their bow and arrow. They dip it in a bucket of thick liquid.
Knock. Aim. Release.
They fire a volley of arrows. Exterior, cart, evening. Joseph hears the arrows approaching before he sees them. An arrow swishes into the carriage and embeds itself in the wood frame of the cart a few inches away from Mary's head. Mary ducks, covering the baby for protection.
What are they doing? They're going to save us to death.
Joseph swerves the carriage sharply as another volley of arrows whiz by them. A few arrows slam into the wooden body of the carriage. Mary looks back and sees 2 arrows pierce the beast's body below its back armor. It tumbles and loses its footing. But it gets up and retreats into the thick forest as another wave of arrows whiz by it. It gets hit again. Exterior, watchtower, evening. The soldiers watch the beast disappear into the forest. They then turn their attention to the carriage, which heads into the town.
Go after them.
Exterior, snowy streets, evening. 5 heavily armed soldiers run through the streets of the town, led by Soldier 2.
Over there.
The unit heads to where the soldier points, the carriage. Exterior, snowy streets, cart, evening. They get to the carriage and look inside, but it's empty. Exterior, snowy streets, around the corner, evening. Joseph watches the soldiers from afar going through the carriage. He turns to Mary, who's holding the baby with her hand over his mouth. The baby has calmed down now and is not crying. Mary whispers him the same lullaby she sang him in the carriage.
Break into 2 teams and search the area.
Not going to be safe until we get rid of Mr. Trouble here. I say we just give him to the soldiers.
No way.
Of course. Why would it be that easy?
Joseph gestures for Mary to follow him. They walk away. Exterior, snowy streets, night. Montage of Mary and Joseph walking through the town. They hide whenever they see any passers-by. Exterior, blacksmith store, night. Mary and Joseph hide.
So, comments? Any suggestions?
There's a bit of comedy, which was funny. I'm trying to see where it was, where the soldiers were like, "What are they doing?" And then the other one's kind of looking. Oh no, I've lost the page. Oh yeah, look at that. Is he crazy? What's he doing? I think that's that you have a chance for like some like buddy soldier comedy there.
Okay.
And I think actually the way, Skyler, you're reading it, like it's actually way funnier than when I just read it in my head.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Back to what Nikki brought up earlier with the descriptions and them being more novel-like, I'm finding as I'm reading it that you say something and then you describe it again as an action, so you tend to repeat yourself within the same action lines a few times, so I would watch out for that. And also in your slug lines, I would stick with to night and day, and careful where you use continuous, because there were scenes like just now with the chase where I would have used continuous, but before it was like continuous, but it would have switched back and forth when we were with Joseph and Alfreda and then at the ceremony. So watch your headers.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. What do you guys think of the action flow? Like, does it, like, aside from the repetition and the thing, if you imagine it in your head as a movie, right? What do you think of the flow? Does it feel fast-paced enough? Does it feel like it can change? Any feedback on that side?
Again, from a writer's perspective,
Yep.
I struggled with putting action together. And I started reading scripts, and I actually read the Blade script, and the opening sequence of Blade and how they described the action was so concise and so intense that I really got through the action and it felt quicker.
Mhm.
And you have to kind of be in the moment. So bam, this falls here. Then something comes screaming by, or like you have to really sort of be in the moment and speak the present tense to really, really make it flow. And all caps has been my best friend. So slams into the ground or whatever that action is really punctuates what's happening, and it really makes it stand out and really quick and easy to read through. So for me, I just read a bunch of scripts or action movies that I really liked particularly and saw how those writers put it together and kind of develop my own style. So yeah, that's my
Well, that's a good
little
idea.
thing in action.
No, I like that. Yeah, so use like more action sort of descriptive words instead of using longer sentences and repeating yourself.
Yes.
Totally.
Like-
And again, like Blade, the first Blade, reading the opening sequence, because it's one of my favorite action sequences of all time. Just because I like horror and blood and all that. So I'm dark that way. But the descriptions are actually really good. And I really got into the script right away, really quick, and it drew me in. And I think also for the beginning, like I really love the dialogue at the very beginning. It was really, like I could totally see everything that's happening, but if you just put a little bit more of that action and get quickly to the dialogue, I think it would flow and you'd hook your reader a little bit faster.
Okay.
Yeah, again, the first 10 pages are like the most important. You want your audience to know what happens. Yeah.
And a little tag on that, a good cheat for helping you emulate action is using the double dash. So you don't need the full sentences, and you throw a couple double dashes in there, and it sort of gets the pace moving automatically.
What do you mean double dash?
Like literally, Mary Joseph Hyde, and then you put like two little lines, like a space, two little lines, space. The baby is asleep in her arms. And so those are helpful mostly in action scenes to get the pace moving.
Rolling and stuff like that. Okay.
And also, speaking of caps, I noticed when I was reading quite a few times you've introduced characters and such, and even if they don't have any lines, I would highly suggest
put them
capsing
using
them.
caps. Yeah. No, fair enough.
And I think this is a super minor thing, but I'm assuming that, like, I just realized this because Nikki and I were reading the Soldier 1 and Soldier 2, but like the Soldier 1 and Soldier 2 on this watchtower, I'm assuming are not the same soldiers as we saw previously. So they have different names if they're different peoples.
Yeah, that's actually a question I had. Should I be giving character names even though they don't speak?
No, they could still be Soldier 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, but not Soldier 1 and Soldier 2 in a different scene if they're different people, right?
No, fair enough. Okay, so just identify them differently.
Yeah.
And also jumping onto that, like Soldier 1 and 2 at the very beginning, as a writer, you get to really create these really cool one-off wacky characters, and you can kind of really play with that in these sort of like smaller roles as well. So like Soldier with a missing eye, or give them
some character identifying.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's good idea.
Yeah, and then it won't take away too much from your leads, but it'll just give the audience something really interesting and you a little bit more creative fun to kind of play with these characters and how they speak.
That's a good idea.
Just an actor's perspective on character names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just call them Soldier 1, Soldier 2, or it could be Castle Soldier 1, Castle Soldier 5, whatever. If you would like to, actors would really appreciate it if you give them names.
Okay.
Because there's nothing personally I hate more than showing up as guard number 3. You know what I mean? When you see the breakdown and you're guard number 2 or cop number 4 or something like that. So
Yeah.
The cop in the hat. Okay.
At least you didn't get a hooker, okay? I was
Or hot girl number 4.
Dead hooker 3. Is the mic stop clicking?
It's still clicking a little bit.
Is it? What the hell's doing that? Check. Just shut up.
It's okay.
So we've done 2 parts of 5 and we're already an hour and a half in. So we might only have time to do like the next one and not finish if we're sticking to the 2 hours.
Okay. Do you guys have a hard stop at 8?
No, I can keep going.
I can go too.
Consensus. What do you guys? Chelsey, are you okay or no?
Yeah, I'm okay going through.
Karin?
I'm
Mike?
fine.
Fine. Momona? All right, okay. Sorry, Jackson?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we'll try to, hopefully we'll try to get as much to it. Okay, carry on. If you guys, maybe what we can do is we can not stop for the next one, but towards the end, we'll just like wrap up everything instead of stopping in the middle. Or is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
I might pause.
No, sorry, you're
Okay, keep going
hopefully
now.
you'll still have your voice tomorrow.
All good. Okay. Exterior blacksmith store, night. Mary and Joseph hide behind a nearby building. The baby is asleep in Mary's arms. They watch the store.
Are you sure this is a good idea?
Snap, what page are we on? Okay, I got shuffled around.
55.
55.
Yeah.
I got
Wow, I was like
54.
I'm on 54.
I have
okay.
preview. I don't know if that helps.
Scene 48, right?
Cool. Okay, 48. Yeah, I got it.
48. Oh, okay, I was looking at the scene number.
Zachary will help us. Plus, they'll never expect us to come back here.
Once Joseph is satisfied the streets are empty, he urges Mary to follow him.
Let's go.
They run across the street to the blacksmith store. They circle around it to a set of stairs leading to the second floor. They climb up in a hurry. Joseph knocks on the door quietly and waits. No answer.
Zachary.
No answer. Joseph and Mary keep looking around, worried someone will see them.
Barn.
They head down again. Interior barn continuous. Joseph and Mary head into the barn. They hide among stacks of hay. The baby stirs and wakes up. Maybe Mary tries to comfort him, but he starts crying.
Quiet, kid. You'll get us caught.
Don't upset him any more than he's already upset. He must be hungry.
I'm hungry.
Well, you're a big boy. You can handle it. But we have to find something for him to eat.
Like what?
I don't know. Find something.
The baby cries.
Take it easy. Joseph will get you some food.
A cow and a sheep walk closer to the baby, attracted by his crying. Joseph looks at the baby annoyed.
You, mister, are a lot of trouble. I hope you're worth it.
Joseph.
The baby grabs Joseph's index finger and sucks on it.
Hey!
Wait. He likes it.
The baby stops crying.
Well, I'm certainly not going to let him do that.
Joseph wipes his finger on his clothes. Wide shot. Mary and Joseph sit opposite each other with the baby in the middle. A horse and a cow look over them with interest. The moon shines through the broken roof of the barn right on them. Back to intimate quarters with Mary and Joseph.
Baby needs food.
Fine. I'll go find something.
Mary puts her hand on Joseph's. We see the emblem of unity on both her hands, side by side.
You're a good man.
I hope that's going to be enough.
Joseph walks out, leaving Mary alone. Mary comforts the baby, who seems to have gotten tired from crying. Exterior garden of trees, night. Joseph climbs a tree similar to the tree he climbed in the beginning of our story. He plucks 2 fruits from a branch. He puts one in his pocket and looks at the other. He remembers Imar. Exterior flashback forest, day. Joseph eats a fruit while resting his back on Imar. Exterior garden of trees, night. Joseph climbs down. Interior barn, night. Joseph walks back in. Mary has fallen asleep after setting a small fire surrounded by rocks. She used a cover from one of the horse's saddles to keep the baby and herself warm. The baby is still awake, however.
You still up?
Joseph puts the fruit in front of the baby.
Here you go. Hope you like it.
The baby crawls to the fruit and rolls it around, but he obviously can't open it.
Fine, so needy.
Joseph breaks the fruit into little pieces. He gives a piece to the baby, who devours it.
Slow down.
Joseph takes the smallest piece and eats it in one bite. He looks at the baby and gives him another piece.
Guess you were hungry, huh?
Joseph takes out the second fruit from his pocket and sets it aside as he gets comfortable.
This is for Mary, okay? She's gonna be hungry when she wakes up.
The baby reaches for it. Joseph moves it further away.
No, not for you. You have enough right in front of you.
The baby looks at Joseph with his innocent eyes, then returns to his piece of the fruit. Baby finishes eating. Time passes. The baby lays on his back, letting the fruit crust fall away. He coos in satisfaction. Joseph looks at him and suppresses a smile. Mary moves in her sleep. It looks like she's having a bad dream. She mumbles incomprehensible words. As the seconds tick by, her nightmare intensifies. Joseph rushes to her side and caresses her hair.
Shh, it's okay. Everything's all right.
Joseph sings her the lullaby she sang the baby. The baby crawls and snuggles beside Joseph. Exterior flashback, tent village. The lullaby melody echoes into the flashback. We see a 10-year-old Joseph with his arm around an 8-year-old Mary. They hide in a hole in the ground inside a tent. Joseph sings her the lullaby. A quick succession of images. Joseph and Mary's dad faces off with a bunch of Victorian soldiers. In the background, we see Mary and Joseph sneaking a peek at the transpiring events. The situation escalates as one of the soldiers pushes their father back. The father gets in the soldier's face again. The soldier hits the father. Mary escapes from Joseph's grip and runs to her father. Joseph follows. She attacks the soldier and grabs at a medallion he wears on his belt. The soldier pushes her away roughly. The medallion comes off in her hand. Her father punches the soldier. The soldier stabs him through. Mary and Joseph run to their fallen father. Mary drops the medallion she grabbed off the soldier on her father's chest.
Oh no! Dad! No!
The Itorian company walks around them without giving them a second thought. Her dad takes a hold of Mary's hand.
I love you so much.
The dad turns to Joseph.
I love you both. Oh, God. I wish I could have seen you grow. Joseph, take care of your sister. You hear me?
Joseph nods. He's still in shock. A tear rolls down the father's cheek. He stares at nothing as the life oozes out of him. He dies.
Dad. No, please. Dad!
Mary puts her head on her father's chest as she sobs. Then she notices the medallion. It has a drawing of an eagle, fangs open for attack carved on it. She looks at it as her anger bubbles up and then chucks it away with a scream. Interior in barn, night. Joseph continues to sing the lullaby until Mary calms down. Exterior blacksmith store, night. Zachary walks back carrying a few logs of wood. He's about to head to the second floor when he sees the light of the fire in the barn. He frowns, puts the wood down, and heads to the barn. Interior barn, continuous. As soon as Zachary walks in, Joseph drags him behind a few crates, away from sight.
Joseph, my boy, I was afraid you didn't get away. I should have known better.
Zachary, we need your help.
Of course, we're like family.
Joseph gestures for Zachary to follow him. He shows him the sleeping baby.
Is that Sir Patrick's baby?
Yes, we have to take him back to Patrick.
Zachary keeps looking at the baby. His thoughts drift off.
Zachary!
Yes. We have to give him back.
Joseph nods.
I just want this whole nightmare over.
Zachary nods.
Stay put. We'll figure this out in the morning. Okay?
Okay.
Zachary looks at the baby again, then smiles at Joseph. A nervous smile. He walks out. Exterior blacksmith store, continuous. Zachary walks up the stairs slowly, head hanging, in deep thought, but then stops. He looks off in the direction of the watchtower, then back at the barn. He's conflicted. Zachary finally makes a decision and heads down the stairs, slowly at first, but then picks up the pace as he walks off into the darkness. Interior barn, early morning. Joseph is in a half-seated position, head hanging, asleep. Mary and the baby are tucked under the cover. The fire has gone out a while ago. The back end of the spear shoves him awake. Joseph's eyes fly open. Above him stands Dudley. Behind Dudley stands the soldier which arrested Zachary, beside the man himself. Marcus rides his horse into view. Joseph shakes his sister awake as he scrambles to his feet. Mary, groggy at the beginning, but her sleep melts away at the sight of Dudley and Marcus. She picks up the baby protectively.
Foolish dog. You thought you could steal what belongs to me and get away with it?
This baby doesn't belong to you. Why do you want him?
Shut up, girl.
How did you find us?
Marcus smiles and throws a bag of money to Zachary. It hits him and the money scatters all over the ground. Joseph looks at Zachary, disgusted.
Sorry.
Joseph's rage bubbles up.
Take the baby.
Dudley approaches Mary with a notable limp, but Joseph attacks him. This time Dudley is ready for him. He nails him hard in the stomach with the back of his spear. Joseph bends down in pain. Dudley follows it with a hit on his back. Joseph goes down hard. Dudley forces the baby, now crying, from Mary's hand.
No. No!
Leave them.
Joseph reaches and grabs on Dudley's leg. Dudley kicks him in the face.
Pathetic.
Dudley spits on Joseph. He puts the crying baby in a basket mounted on his horse. Marcus laughs loudly.
You heartless beast!
Marcus watches her as she rushes to her brother.
I remember you.
Joseph forces himself up.
Leave her alone.
Grab her too.
Dudley comes in forcefully. Joseph rushes him, but he's groggy from the beating he just got. Dudley knocks him down with a punch. Mary attacks Dudley, but he constricts her as she continues struggling. Joseph tries to get up on all fours. He reaches for Mary, but manages to only grab her scarf.
Stop your struggling, slave.
I'll never stop fighting.
Dudley knocks her on the back of the head. Her body goes limp as she loses consciousness. He carries her and puts her on his horse, belly down, then mounts his horse. Joseph shakes his head. His sight is blurry, but he sees the three horses riding away. Joseph scrambles after them, walking unsteadily. He stumbles down and Zachary supports him.
I had no choice. They were going to take everything from me.
Joseph shoves him away.
Get away from me.
Joseph runs after Marcus and his horses. Exterior forest, continuous. Joseph crosses Liberation Square, sprinting after Marcus and his men. Soon he enters the forest, but they are way too fast. He chases them for as long as he can, but they disappear within the thick bush. Joseph keeps running and running. He finally runs out of steam and falls on all fours.
Mary, what did I do, Mary?
Joseph starts to cry. Exterior forest, evening. Joseph walks aimlessly, his head hanging down in defeat, his eyes red from crying. He slumps down out of sheer exhaustion by a tree. Joseph buries his face in his hand, bringing his knees to his chest, trying to make himself as small as possible. Time passes. Exterior forest, roadway, evening. A caravan consisting of 3 horse-drawn carriages strut in a single file along a roadway cut through the thick forest. A couple of guards ride behind them. Hadrian sits with Dudley in the rider's seat of the caravan in the middle. They sit without talking, rocking back and forth as they travel the uneven road. Hadrian reaches for an apple and turns around to go inside the carriage.
What's that? She's probably starving. Gonna give her something to eat. Bad idea. Are you questioning me?
Dudley raises his hand in a gesture of surrender. Hadrian enters the interior carriage, continuous. Mary sits in a corner huddled in the cold. She glances up as Hadrian walks in, but then looks away. There's a bruise on the left side of her face from the hit Dudley delivered. Hadrian brushes a strand of hair off her injury. He appears distressed for her sake. She moves away from him. Hadrian offers her the apple. Mary doesn't reach for it.
I'm sorry how this turned out.
She glances at the apple and sees the scar in Hadrian's hand. Mary reaches with a sudden move and holds Hadrian's hand. Hadrian is taken aback by this sudden action and Mary's strong grip.
Where did you get this?
Hadrian tries to pull his hand free, but Mary holds it tighter.
I told you it's just a scar. Why are you so interested in it? Hey, let go.
Hadrian lets the apple fall by Mary's foot and pulls his hand free. She picks the apple up and devours a bite.
What's your problem? I'm trying to help you here.
Kidnapping me? Stealing Sir Patrick's baby? That isn't helping. I don't know what world you live in.
There's a lot more at stake than you know. Our whole Aetorian way of life can be destroyed.
Ah, like you destroyed the strong Landian way of life, right?
Hadrian waves her off frustrated and turns around to leave.
Do you even know who you really are?
Hadrian turns back to her.
What's that supposed to mean?
Mary taps her emblem of unity.
That's not a scar. I bet you've never met your mother. Have you?
Hadrian stares at Mary, dumbfounded.
How?
Mary looks at him as she continues devouring the apple.
I shouldn't have come here. My father's right. Strong Landians are liars.
Hadrian turns and walks towards the exit of the carriage.
Thanks for the apple.
Exterior carriage continuous. Hadrian sits back beside Dudley. Dudley looks at the unsettled Hadrian but doesn't say a thing. Exterior forest night. The sun sets behind the thick trees and soon the light is all but extinguished. Joseph shivers in the dark. He holds Mary's scarf close to his face. The night sound of the forest is fearful. There are faraway roars and grunts and many other animal sounds. Joseph hits his head several times with his hands. Tears roll down his eyes. He looks up and remembers. Flashback, exterior, Liberation Square, day. The confrontation with Jamie's attackers.
Take the baby and go.
What about you?
Meet me tomorrow by the South Watchtower. Don't trust anyone. Now go.
Exterior forest, night. Joseph stands up and looks towards the city. Through the trees he sees the South Watchtower. He wipes his face.
I hope you're still alive.
He gets up and walks in that direction. Exterior forest continuous. Joseph squints in the darkness. The only illumination comes from the moon and the distant faint orange light of some fires in the city. Point of view, eyes watch Joseph from behind the bushes. Joseph senses movement. He gets apprehensive and snaps around, but in the dark he can't see anything. Joseph backs up near a bush. Suddenly, someone emerges from the bush and wraps her hand around his mouth to silence him. It's Elfreda.
Shh.
Joseph is terrified. Elfreda allows him to see her face. Joseph hugs her.
You're alive. Oh, thank God. But how?
Elfreda returns the hug.
It'll take more than a few gangsters to take me down.
They took Mary.
And Jamie's baby?
Him too.
We'll get them back.
Joseph is distraught.
You don't understand. It was Sir Marcus. How can we... I'll never see...
Elfreda holds his face with both her hands.
We'll get them back. Trust me.
Joseph calms down, deriving some comfort from Elfreda's confidence. He nods.
We do have a slight problem to deal with first.
Problem? What problem?
Elfreda urges him to walk with her. They keep to the dark shadows.
Who are we hiding from?
The beast. The one that attacked us.
Imar?
You know that thing?
Yes, I don't understand how he could have attacked all these people. Someone must have messed with his head.
I know.
You know? How?
Elfreda approaches a tree. She opens her backpack, takes out a clothing item, and hangs it on the branches.
What are you doing?
But Elfreda hurries to a different tree and does the same. Joseph hustles after her.
What are you doing?
Shh! Keep your voice down.
Joseph looks around apprehensively while Elfreda checks a thick rope camouflaged to look like part of the brush. She checks its connection to a huge wooden block hanging up on the tree. Joseph doesn't see the block. Elfreda guides Joseph around the rope so they don't set off the trap. They approach a bunch of dry sticks gathered in one area. Elfreda clears them off with a wooden cover. She removes it, revealing a hole.
Get in.
Joseph hesitates. Elfreda jumps in first. Her actions resolve Joseph's worries, and he follows in after her. The hole is actually an entrance to a tunnel. Elfreda lights a dim glass lamp. In the flickering glow of the fire, Joseph sees a bunch of weapons hung on the wall. Bow and arrows, a couple of swords, a shield. Elfreda partially covers up the hole, leaving a small opening to spy her surroundings. Joseph slumps down in the corner. Elfreda keeps watch for any movement outside. She glances back at Joseph, who has an empty stare in his eyes.
Everything's going to be okay.
Joseph doesn't respond.
I was 7 when my dad hid Mary and I in a hole like this one. He did that whenever the Aetorians came around to collect their taxes. They took something from every family, crops, livestock, whatever they could get their hands on. I hated them. But my dad used to tell us, hate isn't our way. We shouldn't return evil for evil. Mary really bought into all this stuff. Dad was her hero. That winter, though we didn't have much rain and we barely grew enough for us, if we gave the Itorians their taxes, we would have starved to death. My dad decided to stand up for them. I guess there's a first time for everything, huh? I watched him argue and argue, but they didn't have any of it. They pushed him around, beat him, while Mary and I watched on, and I couldn't do a single thing. He was weak. He should have put his family first. We should have packed up and left that town. Maybe he'd be around now. Maybe I wouldn't have to take care of my sister by myself all these years.
Alfreda lays her hand on his shoulder.
You're not alone.
She holds his hand. Their emblem of unity comes together, forming a perfect circle. There is sudden crashing sound outside. They both look outside and see Eimar trapped in a thick net, lifted off the ground. Alfreda jumps out of the hole and sprints towards another heap of branches. Joseph is still in shock. He gets out of the hole, watching Eimar thrash around in the net.
Eimar, it's me. Take it easy.
But Eimar doesn't stop his thrashing.
Get away from it.
Joseph looks back. Alfreda mans a mean-looking arrow thrower.
Don't kill him.
Get out of the way.
The net holding Eimar can no longer hold him. It starts tearing at the seams. Alfreda abandons the arrow thrower because she can't get a good shot. She runs to Joseph and drags him away. Joseph is still in a state of shock. The net breaks and Eimar smashes to the ground. He is still entangled in it, but it doesn't look like it'll take him too much time to get free. Alfreda heads toward the entrance to the tunnel with Joseph in tow, but Eimar, in his thrashing to get free from the net, has blocked the entrance.
Run!
She practically drags Joseph behind her. They run as fast as they can. They turn a corner in the path and see Alfreda's house, surrounded by a high and mighty-looking fence.
Faster!
Exterior forest, back with Eimar, continuous. Eimar gets free from the net. The arrows which hit him early on are still protruding from his body. Eimar shakes his head, trying to get rid of the state of confusion the poison is still causing him. He sees the arrow thrower. He rams it and stomps it to bits. Eimar raises his head and sniffs the air. It only takes him a moment to figure out the direction Alfreda and Joseph ran. He gives chase. Exterior, Alfreda's house, outer perimeter, contiguous. Luckily, Alfreda and Joseph have enough of a head start to make it into Alfreda's home's outer perimeter. They enter through a gate in the fence. Alfreda looks back and sees the swift Eimar rush towards them. Alfreda closes the door and locks it. A moment later, the beast slams against the fence. It slams again. Alfreda and Joseph back up. The beast slams into it a third time. One of the stakes making up the fence cracks.
This isn't going to hold.
Let's go.
They head inside the house. Interior, Alfreda's living room, continuous. Alfreda locks the door. She goes around and places iron grids in front of the windows and locks them in place.
What's wrong with him? He didn't even recognize me.
Alfreda locks another iron grid in place.
Help me, will ya?
Joseph helps Alfreda with the iron grids.
Were you planning to kill him?
Marcus weaponized it. He used a special type of poison to control it, make it attack us. I thought I had planned for all contingencies, but never saw this coming. Failed at my job.
Joseph helps Alfreda lift an iron grid and locks it in place to protect the door.
As long as this thing is out there, there's no way we can get to Jamie and your sister. It'll keep hunting us until we're dead.
When they are done, they back up to the middle of the house. Silence.
Maybe he came back to his senses.
No. No, it did not.
Alfreda goes to a box and takes a sword out. She holds it in a defensive position.
This doesn't make any sense. Use Eimar to assassinate Patrick? It's a horrible plan. He must have known it wouldn't work.
I don't know what he's planning, but whatever it is, we won't have much time to...
Suddenly, the beast slams the side of the house. They both jump in fear. The beast keeps circling and slamming the different sides of the house, looking for a weak spot. Then, silence again. Alfreda runs to the window and looks out. There is nothing there. Then the beast appears as if from nowhere. It roars at her, then scales the house to the roof. Eimar starts working the roof, pulling on the wood, trying to make its way in. Part of the roof starts to give way.
I think you just found a weak spot.
Come with me.
Alfreda moves a couch. Under it there is a door. She opens it, revealing a set of stairs. Alfreda ushers Joseph down the stairs, and then she goes in after him. Interior, Alfreda's house, basement, continuous. Alfreda locks the door, and it goes pitch black. She lights up a gas lamp and takes it off the wall. They walk deeper into the tunnel.
We have to get to Patrick. It's the only way to rescue Jamie and your sister. He's the only one with enough influence to stand up against Marcus.
No way. No, we're not trusting another Itorian.
Listen to me. Marcus doesn't believe Patrick deserves to rule the land. He always thought Patrick was too soft on Stronglandians, and his marriage to Jamie only solidified Marcus's beliefs. To Marcus, Patrick is a traitor, a breaker of Itorian traditions. Praetorians, that's a big deal.
I don't care about their politics and feuding. I only care about Mary.
And I care about Jamie. Both their fates are intertwined now. Your father was right. We have to act like true Stronglandians and look past our hate.
Suddenly, there is a loud crash.
He's in.
We're safe here, right? Right?
Hurry.
They arrive at a door. Alfreda opens it and enters. Interior Alfreda's workshop. Night. The only source of light is Alfreda's gas lamp.
Here, hold this.
Alfreda hands Joseph the gas lamp. Alfreda lights one in front of a workbench. It gives a dim glow over a bow and a set of arrows on the workbench. Joseph holds the lamp and looks around the room. In a dark corner of the room, he sees different parts of dead beasts. Their back armor, their skeletons, hooves.
You're a hunter. That's why you knew how to trap him. That's how you knew about the poison. You murdered them.
Alfreda looks back with regret in her eyes.
You talk about Stronglandians' ways and you kill these being against our ways. You're a hypocrite. Worse than an Itorian sympathizer. Or worse, you're an Itorian sympathizer.
It's the only reason Marcus kept me around.
Is that supposed to be an excuse?
You're not the only one who had it rough, Joseph. I was Marcus's slave for 10 years. I pray to God neither you nor your sister ever know what that means, because it was pure hell. I had no power over anything, not even my own self. The constant fear someone can violate me against my will and I can do nothing about it, that's the torture. I had the skill Marcus needed, and in return, he stayed away from me, so I used it. But the fear never went away. Not until Jamie rescued me.
Joseph looks at Alfreda, shocked. He clearly didn't expect what he heard. Alfreda opens a little drawer in her workbench and takes out a glass jar with some thick yellowish liquid. She proceeds to open the jar carefully. Joseph looks at her, unable to decide what to do.
We have no time to quibble and lay blame. Marcus is the real villain here. Don't forget that.
The crashing continues top level as the beast continues its search. Joseph looks over Alfreda's shoulder. Alfreda dips the tips of the arrows in the jars.
Is that the poison? You're not going to kill him.
I'll do what I have to do to protect Jamie. You should do the same for Mary.
Alfreda finishes off dipping the tips of the arrows in the poison. As she does, she places each one in an arrow pouch. Joseph hears the noise of wood breaking apart. Joseph looks through the door and sees light streaming through as the beast breaks up the door into the tunnel. Joseph locks the door to the workshop.
He's in the tunnel.
Alfreda takes the bow and slings the arrow pouch over her shoulder. Alfreda takes another glass jar from the drawer and smashes it on the ground. Once the liquid spills out, it makes green smoke. It has a very poignant smell. Joseph starts to cough.
It'll hide their scent. Follow me.
They head deeper into the tunnel. When they are more than halfway through, they hear the crashing of the workshop door as it breaks under the weight of the beast.
Run!
They run. The more they progress, the narrower the tunnel becomes. In a few minutes, they arrive at the exit they had hidden in earlier. Joseph grabs one of the swords hung on the wall along with its sheath. Then he climbs out of the tunnel after Alfreda. Exterior forest continuous. Joseph secures the sword and around his waist as he follows Alfreda. They look back and see the ground heaving up and down. The tunnel is too small for Aymar.
This isn't going to slow him down for long.
Alfreda gestures for Joseph to follow her. They head towards a fenced stable. Exterior Alfreda's horse stable continuous. Alfreda and Joseph walk in. There's only one horse in there.
Get on.
Alfreda jumps on the horse and helps Joseph hop on behind her. Joseph keeps a tight grip on the lamp with one hand, and the other arm he wraps around Alfreda's waist. They ride out. Exterior forest continuous. They ride furiously through a path between the trees. Joseph looks behind him and sees the ground heaving still.
I shouldn't have judged you.
Joseph, we have to get our priorities straight. Jamie and Mary come before anything else. Do we agree on this? Do we?
Yes.
Joseph looks behind him and sees the ground exploding and Imar climbing out of it like a strange parasite breaking out of the skin.
Imar.
Elfreda looks behind her. She urges the horse to run faster. She looks back again, and the beast is gaining. It's far enough, but it's fast. She stops the horse and jumps off.
Right off.
Joseph takes the reins of the horse.
What about you?
Elfreda slaps the horse's butt and it runs off.
Find Jamie!
Elfreda takes a knee to steady herself. She takes an arrow out of the arrow pouch, aims, and fires. The beast uses its back armor to repel the arrow. It slows down slightly as it does. Elfreda, in quick succession, takes another arrow and shoots again and again. The arrows bounce off its armor.
Come on, show your belly.
Elfreda fires another arrow. This time it sinks in Imar's powerful shoulder, but it doesn't slow him down much. The beast is now too close for comfort. Before Elfreda is able to fully get out of the way, the beast rams her with Joseph. Joseph stops the horse and watches Elfreda fly in the air like a rag doll and come to a dead stop when she slams into a tree trunk.
No, Imar, stop!
Joseph nudges the horse and rides closer to the conflict. With Elfreda, the beast, now sure that it is incapacitated Elfreda, advances slowly for the kill. It shakes its head, trying to get rid of the effect of the poison. Elfreda, still conscious, starts to back away. She tries to get up, but falls to the ground. The beast moves towards her confidently. With Joseph. Joseph jumps off the horse and leaves the lamp in the middle of the path. Joseph rushes the horse to the side of the road.
Stay here. If I die, well, I don't really care what you do then.
With Elfreda. Elfreda takes out one of the arrows. It is dismayed when she sees the bow has fallen out of her reach. She uses the arrow to threaten the beast. The beast slows down. This close up, Elfreda sees Imar's eyes. Instead of having their familiar glow, they are mostly black. His web of veins are glowing dark purple with patches of orange. Imar looks at the arrow carefully.
Yeah, you know what this is, don't you? Don't you?
Elfreda jabs it in the beast's direction. With Joseph. Joseph gathers some dry sticks in the middle of the path and throws the lamp in its midst. The lamp breaks and the oil spreads the fires to the dry sticks. The fire grows quickly. With Elfreda. Elfreda is now up on her feet, maneuvering with Imar. Her only defense is the poisoned arrow, which appears to make Imar think twice before attacking her. The beast looks in the direction of the fire, growing brighter. Elfreda takes the short opportunity of distraction and charges the beast with the arrow. The beast is alerted to her advancement, but not before she's able to jab the arrow in its leg. The beast reacts in pain and headbutts Elfreda. Elfreda flies and lands on the ground, face down. Imar shakes his head. The poison from the arrow disorientates him. He grabs the arrow with his mouth and pulls it out. That's when Joseph starts yelling.
Hey! Hey! Look here! Come on! Come on!
Imar looks at Joseph standing behind the fire. Joseph picks up a block of wood which is lit with fire and hurls it at the beast. The heat hits the beast and falls beside him. The beast growls at Joseph and steps on the lit wood, easily extinguishing it.
Come on, Imar! You still remember me?
The beast walks unsteadily towards Joseph.
I'm your friend.
Joseph holds his sword, ready to defend himself. Elfreda regains her consciousness and sees the beast head towards Joseph, but she's too weak to do anything except reach out to Joseph in objection.
Please, Imar. We're friends. Come on, let's not do this.
The glow in Imar's eyes fights to break through the blackness, but his attitude doesn't change. He is still aggressive and approaches Joseph menacingly. With Joseph, Joseph starts to back up.
Imar, don't force me to choose. Please.
I think Karin lost her connection.
Okay. That's probably what happened.
Oh, here we go. She's back.
Sorry, everything just froze.
Joseph said, Imar, don't force me to choose, please.
Okay, cool. Imar charges Joseph, still under the effect of the poison. His strides drag against the ground. Joseph does his best not to budge, holding his sword in a ready-to-fight posture. Imar attempts an awkward leap over the fire.
Yeah!
Joseph dives at Imar and stabs him in his belly with the sword. The sword sinks all the way to the handle. Imar lands on the ground and doesn't move. Joseph scrambles to his feet and looks at the still Imar.
Why? Why did it have to come to this?
The beast has scattered the lit wood as it rammed through the fire. The flames die down. Joseph looks at Imar in the flicker of the dying flames. He's not moving. Joseph takes a hesitant step towards him. Imar takes quick, shallow breaths. The glow in his eyes is more pronounced now, as if his body is fighting off the poison.
Can't believe you did it.
Joseph snaps towards Elfreda. Elfreda has 2 poisoned arrows in her hand. She walks with difficulty. Joseph looks at Imar again. He's so helpless. Elfreda steps toward the beast and prepares to stab it with the other arrows. Joseph pulls her back.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna finish the job. This isn't going to keep it down for long. Only way is to cut off its head.
Look at him. He's done. Just leave.
We agreed Jamie and Mary first. When this thing recovers, and it'll come after us again and again until it kills us.
No, I'm not going to let you kill my friend. He's as much a victim as we are.
Elfreda pushes Joseph away.
Get out of my way.
She continues her approach, but Joseph grabs her and pulls her back.
Please, no.
Elfreda elbows Joseph in the face, forcing him to let go of her, but he immediately runs to Imar.
What are you doing?
Joseph takes out the sword from its belly. He points the sword at Elfreda.
Are you turning on me? After I saved your life.
Please, just let him be.
Surprisingly, Imar's wound closes rapidly. He gets up. Joseph snaps towards him.
Imar, you see, I helped you. I'm not your enemy, Imar. I'm your friend.
Joseph throws the sword away. The beast gets up, disoriented.
Bloody hell.
Elfreda backs up, holding the arrows in front of her. She's injured and in no shape to fight. The beast looks from Joseph to her. Imar is not very steady, but dangerous nonetheless. Joseph stays between Elfreda and the beast.
No, stop. Imar, this isn't you.
Imar slows down, looking at Joseph. The orange glow in his eyes is brighter. It bites back the darkness. There's a glimmer of recognition, but then it disappears as he looks at Elfreda with the arrows. The beast leaps over Joseph and takes a swipe at Elfreda with his muscular leg. She goes tumbling back. Joseph runs and leaps, covering Elfreda with his body. The beast charges Joseph and Elfreda. He raises his foot. If he brings it down, he can easily squish both of them to death.
Please, please don't do this.
Imar freezes. The glimmer of recognition returns to his eyes. Their glow is more steady. His leg is in midair. He looks down at Elfreda and Joseph. After a tense moment, he leaps away and disappears into the forest. Joseph looks at the limp Elfreda.
Hey, you okay?
He taps her face gently, but she doesn't respond.
Come on, stay with me. I don't even know your name.
Joseph slumps beside her. He buries his face in his hand, tired.
It's Elfreda.
Joseph turns to her.
Oh, thank God.
Elfreda tries to get up, but she's in too much pain.
Here, let me help you.
Elfreda wraps her arm around Joseph's shoulder. He tries to get her up, but she's in too much pain.
Let me down.
Joseph eases her back against a tree.
My ribs and right leg are definitely broken.
Joseph moves to her leg and rolls her pants up.
Oh, my.
Her leg tibia bone below the knee is broken and the bone protrudes. It hasn't broken the skin, though.
I've seen this before. If we don't set the bone right, it'll be very bad for you.
Do you know how to do that?
I'm no doctor, but I've seen it done before.
You've seen it done.
You have any better ideas?
Yeah, you could have just let me kill your friend.
Silence.
It's gonna hurt.
Wait, hold on.
Do you freeze again?
She looks frozen, yeah.
I'm back.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, it's going to hurt. Joseph prepares to straighten the bone.
Wait, hold on.
Elfreda picks up a wooden branch and bites on it. She nods.
Okay. On the count of 3.
Elfreda nods in agreement and braces herself.
1.
Joseph tugs sharply on her lower leg. Elfreda screams in agony. Wide shot of the forest. Elfreda screams, echo. Interior prison cell, continuous. Mary is in a dark, damp cell. She's in a disturbed sleep, jerking around as if she's trying to avoid something. Exterior flashback, tent village, day. Mary sees her father getting stabbed. She sees the medallion with a drawing of an eagle, fangs open for attack. She chucks it away with a scream. Interior prison cell, night. Mary wakes up from her turbulent sleep. The last thing she sees in her dreams are the soldiers marching around her. The sound of their marching merges with her reality as a guard runs his sword along the iron bars of the cell.
Are you okay?
The soldier has left a dry morsel of bread and a bowl of water by the iron door of the cell. It takes Mary a few moments to recover from her nightmare.
I'm okay.
Mary takes the bowl of water and walks deeper into the cell where Jamie is tied with metal shackles.
Here, drink this.
That's yours.
You need it more than I do. Come on now.
Mary helps Jamie drink the water. Then she breaks the bread into 2 pieces and gives Jamie the bigger piece. Jamie looks at her and smiles.
I'm sorry you got all involved in this.
It was my choice. But my brother is right not to trust them. We have to take what we can when we can.
Jamie looks at Mary sympathetically. She reaches over and rests her hand over Mary's. Their emblems of unity connect.
Don't forget who you are.
I don't know who that is anymore.
Oh, well, that's easy. You're the girl who rushed to help me, someone she hardly knows. You're the girl who put her life on the line to save a half-Itorian baby when she could have saved herself. You're the girl who gave me her water and shared her food, no matter how little she had. Should I go on?
Mary rests her head on Jamie's shoulder, and Jamie rests her head on Mary's head.
I am great, aren't I?
And humble, too.
Mary and Jamie share a quiet laugh. A guard passes his sword across the bars of the cell, making a loud rattling noise. Mary and Jamie startle. Mary looks up and sees 3 guards open the door to the cell and head towards them. 2 of them unshackle Jamie and pull her to her feet. The 3rd one takes Mary. They drag both of them out of the cell.
Where are you taking us?
Interior catacombs, continuous. Mary struggles against the guard, but he's too strong. They walk through a gate into a larger area. Ahead there is another gate, which leads to the outside the building. A lot of clutter is stacked up high on the sides of the corridor. It looks like a storage area. Jamie stumbles her footing. The guards are forced to slow down to accommodate her.
Come on, woman.
Mary tries to go to Jamie's assistant, but her guard holds her back.
Look at her. She's hurt.
Move.
You can't treat us like this. We're human beings.
Jamie looks at Mary and mouths.
Get ready.
Suddenly, Jamie shoves the guard nearest to her into a stack of boxes. The boxes come tumbling down. The guards are forced to cover their head. Mary is suddenly free.
Mary, go! Find my baby! Go!
Mary doesn't hesitate. She bolts away. The guard responsible for her turns to the other 2 and points at Jamie.
Stay with her.
The guard heads after Mary. Interior catacombs, continuous.
So, for the sake of time, sorry to cut you off. I'm just wondering, because there's going to be a lot of action going on, I can just summarize quickly what happened and then we can jump to scene 116. I'm just trying to finish by 8:30. So I don't keep you guys around for too long.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so basically what happens is Jamie's and Hadrian helps Jamie out, like tries to save her and like let her escape. She decides to stay back and help the baby. Then she realizes it's actually Patrick's father, or that is the one that killed her parents, like, from the medallion that she've seen in her thing. And then she turns around and she doesn't want to help the baby anymore. But then Joseph, at the same time, he's able to like reach Sir Patrick because what's her name? Alfreda helps him convinces him to go and help her get Patrick's help. So he gets there. There's a bunch of like stuff and obstacles he has to like surpass to get to Patrick, and then he finally convinces Patrick to help them. They come up with a plan where Joseph makes it into Marcus's castle to rescue Mary. Obviously, things go bad, and that's where 116 happens.
Okay, so page 114, scene 116, interior large hall. Door hits steadily.
Yes.
Okay.
So at this point, Dudley, or sorry, what's his name? Hadrian is able to make it inside, and Dudley sees him, and they fight, and then Dudley gets the upper hand.
Interior large hall, continuous. The door hits Dudley just as he's about to stab Joseph. He stammers backwards. Hadrian and Mary run through. Joseph scrambles to his feet and grabs his sword. He looks up and sees more palace residents walk into the great hall, watching the events unfold. Suddenly, Joseph hears a scream from behind him. He snaps back and sees Marcus with one of his guards. The guard holds Mary hostage with his sword on her neck. She still has the baby. The baby cries.
If I'm in this, everything just closed for a second.
I am looking for 116 because there's no scene numbers on the online
I got
script, so I'm just opening
90.
it here.
I'm close.
Search for the door hits Dudley.
And the page number was?
114.
Okay, I found it.
Sorry, guys. I touched something and 112, 116. The door hits Dudley. Okay. Oh, Marcus. Hey. Is this where I am? Is this me?
Yes.
I think it'll be best for everyone if you hand me the baby. Come on, girl.
Marcus forces the crying baby out of Mary's hand.
You're despicable.
Marcus shoves Mary away and she falls on her back. Joseph rushes to her and helps her to her feet.
You're all despicable monsters. You, him, Patrick, all of you. And all of you are fools. Did your master ever tell you that he fathered Hadrian from a strong Landian woman? Did you know that? Or you just follow him like sheep?
The guards surrounding Marcus look from Mary to Marcus.
Oh, yes. Your noble monster betrayed the Itorian traditions you hold so dear.
Kill them!
The guards don't obey the orders.
It's over. Patrick knows about what you've done, and he's on his way.
Marcus grabs Dudley from his armor.
Get your men in order.
Men, we obey the house of Marcus.
One of the guards, the same guy who had arrested Zachary, looks at his comrades.
Not for treason against the Itorian people.
Dudley stabs the objecting guard through. The man falls to the ground, dead.
Anyone else?
The rest of the guards fall in line. They advance towards Mary and Joseph, who back up towards the balcony. Hadrian gets in the guard's way.
Just let them go. They aren't important.
Should have known the son of a slave will amount to nothing.
Dudley pushes Hadrian out of the way. Joseph throws his sword at Dudley, but he deflects it with his. Along with the delay Hadrian caused, Joseph and Mary have enough time to back up to the balcony. The rope which Hadrian and Mary had thrown earlier to trick the guards dangles a meter away. Joseph and Mary climb on the thick railing of the balcony.
Jump!
Mary and Joseph jump as Dudley catches up and swings his sword at them, but misses. Joseph grabs onto the rope. Mary slips, but Joseph catches her before she falls. She secures her hold on the rope as well. The momentum of the jump swings the rope like a pendulum. Joseph looks, and there is an adjacent balcony 1 level below. He rocks himself more, trying to get them there. They get close to Dudley again on the swing back. Dudley swings his sword, but Joseph protects himself with his gauntlet. Their momentum carries them to the other balcony.
Let go.
Joseph and Mary let go, and they land painfully on the balcony. Dudley looks at them in anger.
Follow me.
He steps inside the castle.
We have to go.
Not just yet.
Joseph takes a torch off the wall and a small glass bottle from his pocket.
What are you doing? Let's go.
He uses his teeth to pull the plug and pours the contents of the bottle on the fire. It glows bright blue. Exterior outside Marcus's palace wall, night. Sir Patrick stands with his guards watching the castle from far away. He sees the bright blue flame rise.
That's our signal. Move.
Him and a few guards start riding towards the castle. Exterior, Marcus's palace balcony, night. The flame continues to burn blue for a moment before the fire returns to normal.
Let's go.
Joseph tosses the torch to the side, and they run down a set of stairs from the balcony to the palace square. Exterior, Marcus's palace square, continuous. Mary and Joseph run through the square towards the gates. To their terror, guards close the palace doors. Suddenly, Sir Patrick rides in and shoots one of the guards, closing the door with an arrow. The rest of Marcus's guards back up. A short moment after, a stream of 10 of Patrick's guards file through the gate. A sword battle erupts between Patrick's men and Marcus's men. The battle poses a serious danger to Mary and Joseph. Swords clang, bodies fly around, horses riding. Joseph almost gets trampled by one, if it weren't for his sister, who pulls him away.
This way.
Mary pulls her brother through a doorway into the underground of the castle, and there they remain hidden, watching the battle unfold. Soon it's clear that Patrick has the upper hand, but then things always turn on a dime. Marcus appears on the castle wall with Dudley and a few of his guards. They hold Jamie and the baby at sword point.
Patrick! Patrick!
Patrick looks up and sees the perilous situation his family is in.
Tell your men to stand down if you want to keep your family alive. Do it. Now!
Patrick shifts with his horse, looking up at Marcus defiantly. Marcus grabs Jamie by the arm and pulls her close to him. He produces a dagger and puts it on her neck.
No. Wait. Men. Stand down. Stand down.
Oh, sorry, that's supposed to be Patrick, but anyway.
Okay.
The men stand down with Joseph and Mary. Joseph and Mary watch the events unfold. Joseph is dumbfounded at how quickly the tables turned.
Good. Wise decision. Now, lay down your weapons.
Patrick's men obey the orders.
Bring Patrick to me. The rest, put them in the dungeon.
More of Marcus's men stream out of the castle. They surround Patrick's men and arrest them. Marcus's men drag their prisoners towards where Mary and Joseph are hiding.
This way. Come with me.
Mary and Joseph head deeper into interior tunnel twilight. Joseph follows Mary through a maze of tunnels. They pass the prison cell which Mary and Jamie were held in. The sound of soldiers are following close behind them. They make a few turns until they end up at the wine cellar which Hadrian and Mary had hidden earlier. They enter and close the door. Soldiers patrol the underground tunnels. Mary and Joseph back up deeper into the wine cellar. Mary hugs Joseph.
It's okay. You're all right now.
Mary wipes away her tears.
No, we're not. Not until we're out of this hellhole.
I need to see this through.
What? We're not going to help the man who killed our father.
What?
Patrick killed our father. Do you understand?
Listen, Mary, we don't know anything for sure. 10 years ago, it was Patrick's father who was in charge, not Patrick.
Does it matter?
Life isn't black and white, Mary, and sometimes what's right isn't always what's easy or it makes us feel good.
Joseph holds both her shoulders.
You were always right. Just because we've been hurt doesn't mean we stop doing the right thing.
They lock stairs. Mary hugs her brother again.
You've changed.
Blame yourself.
Exterior, Marcus's palace. Day. Day breaks. Shot of the castle from outside. A well-guarded caravan arrives into the castle square. Mary and Joseph climb up to the roof of the palace. They head towards the highest point of the roof. The roof is slanted and dangerous to traverse. As they make their precarious trek, they see a group of people on the palace wall below them. They duck down to avoid being seen, but continue to watch the group. Close on. Exterior, Marcus's palace wall. Continuous. On the wall overlooking the square, Marcus stands with Patrick. A few meters away from them, Dudley and a few guards hold Jamie and the baby hostage. One face of the wall they stand on is by the palace square, and the other is by the sea. It's a sharp drop down to the crashing waves.
Watch the end of your reign arrive.
Marcus points at the arriving caravan.
Had this planned all along.
Your father was a great man. He knew what it means to uphold our Etorian traditions. He would be ashamed to see his son's disregard to everything holy, everything we worked hard to build.
Our law is broken. What makes us better than them?
They were the ones who attacked us. They were the ones who killed our children.
Drop the act, Marcus. We both know these are child's tale and not history. The fault lies in both our people.
Marcus takes out his dagger and places its edge on Patrick's neck.
I ought to take your head off right now. But I want the counts of our 13 realms to hear your confession. You will stand in front of the Etorian Synod and admit your treasonous acts.
Marcus leans closer to Patrick.
And if you don't,
Marcus forces Patrick to look at his scared wife and kid.
well, you know what's going to happen.
Don't do it, Patrick.
We both know the law. Upon my confession, you'll have the right to execute me on the spot. What guarantees me you'll keep my family alive?
I'm not interested in Stronglandian slaves.
With Mary and Joseph, Joseph and Mary watch Marcus and 2 of his guards drag Patrick away. Dudley and 3 other guards remain with Jamie and the baby. Joseph and Mary exchange looks.
Who exactly is your friend? Because we're going to need all the help we can get.
Oh, you'll see.
Joseph looks towards the forest and produces a sequence of whistles. Exterior forest, tree line, continuous. Imar is hidden at the tree line. He cocks his head up and angles his ears towards the sound. He looks in Joseph's direction. Point of view of Imar. Imar has very sharp vision. He can see Joseph on the roof. Joseph signals a circular motion with his arms. Imar seems to understand it and bursts into a quick sprint. Exterior, Marcus's castle roof, continuous. At first, Mary doesn't see what's going on. Then she sees Imar. She grabs Joseph's arm and points at Imar.
This is not good. Look.
But Joseph is already looking in Imar's direction, watching him circling around the castle, coming from the backside.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. That's the friend I was telling you about.
Mary looks at Joseph incredulously. When she looks back at Imar, he's already gone.
Where did it go?
He.
What?
It's a he. His name is Imar. And be nice to him. He's sensitive.
Really?
Let's go.
They move from their position, staying as flat against the roof as possible to avoid being seen. They can see Dudley and 3 other guards with Jamie and the baby. Guard 1 guards Jamie and the baby at sword point. The other 2 guards are a few feet away from the hostages, moving back and forth, weapons ready. Dudley keeps close to the hostages, but not as close as the other guard. His weapon is also ready. The roof Mary and Joseph are on is elevated above the wall. To their left is a deadly drop to the sea. To their right is the palace court. Mary is behind Joseph as they crawl on the roof. Mary hears strange whistling to her left. She looks up and gasps in shock. A mere foot beside her is Imar's huge head. She backs away in the opposite direction. Joseph looks back and sees Mary backing up in fear towards the edge of the roof. Another second and she'll fall off. He dives for her and stops her from falling. Just as her foot goes off the edge, he pulls her back to safety.
It's okay. It's okay.
Mary stares at Imar, terrified.
Mary, meet Imar. Imar, meet Mary.
Imar produces a sequence of soft whistles. Mary continues to look at him, terrified.
Mary?
How come you never told me about him? I mean...
Mary gestures at Imar as if he's big news. Joseph shrugs.
Never came up.
Never came up?
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. If we're able to free Jamie and her baby, Marcus will have no more leverage.
I hate to admit it, but Patrick is more tolerable than Marcus.
I'll cause a distraction, and you take out the 2 guards over there.
Joseph points at the 2 guards patrolling the perimeter. Joseph spies out a way to get down to the wall.
You stay here.
No way. I'm coming with.
Mary.
Mary gives him a defiant stare.
Ooh, never mind.
Joseph moves carefully and gets on Imar's back.
Okay, let's go.
Mary hesitates for a moment and then follows Joseph carefully. She holds Joseph's extended hand and puts one foot on Imar's back. Her foot slips, but Joseph is able to maneuver her behind him. It takes Mary a moment to secure her position and holds onto Joseph from behind.
Never came up? Really?
Imar scales down the wall, staying out of the visual range of the guards. He positions himself in a spot on the wall which allows Joseph and Mary to get off unseen. Joseph helps Mary on the wall and then follows suit. They hide behind a thick stone beam. Joseph touches Imar's face. Imar leans into Joseph's hand.
Okay, Imar, on my signal. Got it?
Imar whistles and then scales the wall, disappearing from view.
Any other secrets you want to tell me?
It wasn't a secret. It just never came up.
Joseph sneaks a look at the guards.
Stay put. Once Jamie and the baby are free, call them over and get out of here.
Joseph walks out from their hiding spot before Mary can respond. He heads directly towards Dudley and his men. Joseph is about halfway towards them when they are alerted to his presence. Joseph stops.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. You see, I'm a bit lost. It's just a huge castle, you guys. It's just a huge castle you guys have here.
Dudley recognizes Joseph.
You. Kill him.
Oh, is that any way to treat a guest?
Joseph backs up, pulling the two soldiers away from Jamie and the baby. Dudley and the other soldiers stay close to the hostages.
Can't we all just be friends?
One of the soldiers smiles.
Okay, have it your way.
Joseph whistles. Suddenly, Imar leaps up. No one has time to react before Imar grabs one of the soldiers with his mouth and chucks him over the wall into the sea. The soldier goes down, screaming. The other one tries to hit Imar with his sword. He succeeds in only angering him. Imar roars at the soldier. The soldier drops his weapon in terror and turns to run, but is met with Joseph's fist in the face. The soldier's head hits the stone wall with a notable crack and goes down like a sack of potatoes. A dagger he had on him slides on the ground and stops by Dudley's feet. The soldier with Dudley runs away.
Back here.
Dudley snatches Jamie and places his dagger on her neck.
Get back. Tell that beast to get back.
Imar, stop.
Imar backs up. Then a volley of arrows hits him. Some of them bounce off his armor. Imar gets between the source of the arrows and Joseph. Imar charges the archers on the opposite side of the wall with a terrifying roar. Dudley and Joseph circle each other. Dudley keeps Jamie and the baby between him and Joseph. His dagger is on her neck. Mary charges Dudley from behind. She pounces on his back with a battle cry and scratches his face. Dudley is disoriented as he backs up towards the side of the wall overlooking the ocean. Mary's attack drives Dudley, Jamie, and Mary closer to a dangerous fall. The wall is designed with regular rectangular highs and lows. Dudley backs into the wall, slamming Mary on the high side of the wall. Mary doesn't let go. He does it again, but misses and goes into the low side, which is no higher than his knee.
Get off me.
Dudley tries to reach back for her, but Mary uses all her weight to offset his balance. His arm flails and he lets go of Jamie. Mary and Dudley tumble off the wall towards a watery death.
No.
Joseph rushes to the side of the wall and looks down. The sight which greets his eyes both gladdens and terrifies him at the same moment. Mary was able to grab on the wall 2 or 3 meters down. The wall has many nooks and protruding stones. However, Dudley has also successfully done the same thing, not too far beneath Mary. Mary climbs up.
Hurry, Mary, hurry.
Joseph extends his hand to her, but she's out of reach. Mary climbs, but Dudley is way faster. He grabs Mary's feet and tugs on it. Mary screams.
No, no, let her go.
Joseph looks around and sees the dagger which has slipped from the soldier he hit. He grabs it and puts it in his mouth. Mary screams as she tries to hold on with all her might. Joseph climbs on the edge of the wall, and with a daring stunt, he jumps off and grabs onto Dudley's back. But Dudley doesn't let go of Mary, even though Joseph's added weight disorients him.
I'll kill you both.
Joseph takes the dagger from his mouth and stabs Dudley's hand holding Mary's foot. Then he uses his legs to pry Dudley off the wall. They both tumble towards the crashing waves. Mary looks down in horror.
Joseph! Joseph!
Mary sees a black thing flash past her. It takes her a moment to realize it's Imar scaling down the wall after Joseph. Joseph and Dudley disappear into the raging sea.
Come on, Joseph, come up. Please, come up.
But Joseph doesn't surface. Imar jumps into the water. He surfaces several times, but each time without Joseph, and each time Mary's heart sinks further.
Mary, climb up. Come on.
Mary looks up and then back towards the ocean. Now Imar is nowhere to be seen. Tears flow down Mary's face.
Mary, come on.
Mary climbs up and jumps on the wall. Jamie hugs her.
I'm so sorry.
Mary pulls away from Jamie and looks down again at the water. There is no Joseph, no Imar. Mary takes a deep breath and looks at Jamie.
We have to stop Marcus. It's what Joseph wanted.
Mary guides Jamie away. The wall is now void of soldiers. Imar had scared all of them away. Interior Marcus's castle, Grand Hall, continuous. The Grand Hall is elegantly decorated. The walls are adorned by swords, shields, Italian paintings. A semicircular table is in the middle of it. The table's semicircle surrounds a lower podium where Marcus stands beside a kneeling Patrick. 12 men and women sit around the table as if watching a theatrical show. Hadrian is there as well.
As you've heard by this traitor's own admission, he had planned to end indeed, succeeded in anointing his half-breed son, the next count of the Western Realm, and an eventual member of our Holy Synod. If this does not dictate his immediate death, I don't know what will. My fellow Itorians, my case against this treasonous man has been laid down bare before you with great detail. His actions will eventually lead to the splintering of this synod, and our great nation will undoubtedly follow. All what our ancestors have worked and died for will be for nothing if we do not continue on the path they laid down for us. As stewards charged with shepherding our community, we cannot in good conscience stand idle. Decisive action must be taken.
Marcus takes out his sword and places it on Patrick's neck.
I cannot be the only one in this room who feels the overwhelming zeal for our great Itorian nation. Who is with me?
You speak with much passion, yet your words ring empty, Marcus.
Everyone swings around to see Jamie holding her baby, accompanied by Mary, exit a side door.
Jamie.
Counts, would you listen to a man who has coerced a confession out of my husband? For he has confessed a sin only to spare us from certain death by the hands of Marcus's men.
An elegantly dressed woman, Count 1, sitting in the middle of the table, stands up.
Is what this strong Latian woman says true, Marcus?
Marcus is flustered and angry at the interruption.
What does this matter? Everything I said here is true. What I did for the good of Itoria.
A murmur goes through the room as the counts lean towards each other and talk.
Our laws demand a proper judicial. I can't say this word. Judicial. I did say it right. Our laws demand a proper judicial investigation. We cannot sentence an Itorian to death, notwithstanding a count based on coerced confession. What I see here is you attempting to circumvent our laws in order to arrive to the outcome you desire. This is not our way.
Hadrian stands up.
I agree, Father. We cannot save our traditions by breaking them.
Marcus is angrier now.
You know nothing at all. It is expedient for us to that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish.
Marcus raises his sword, but Patrick charges him. They both fall down. Patrick's hand is tied behind him, giving him a major disadvantage in the fight. Patrick headbutts Marcus, breaking his nose. Marcus pushes Patrick away. They both scramble to their feet. All the counts stand up.
Stop this! Stop it! Someone... Oh, sorry. Go. I'm excited.
Jamie advances but is held back by one of the guards.
Stop it! Someone stop it!
Patrick kicks Marcus. Marcus swings his sword, but Patrick ducks, avoiding it. With Mary. Mary takes the opportunity that everyone's attention is directed towards Marcus and Patrick and snatches one of the many swords decorating the wall. With Marcus and Patrick. Marcus's advantage is undeniable. After a short fight, Marcus knocks Patrick on his back.
Our law is clear. He polluted our bloodline, and for this, his blood must be spilled.
Marcus raises his sword to finish Patrick off. Suddenly, he gets stabbed through the back. A sword protrudes from his chest. He looks down at the bloody blade in astonishment before he crumbles to his knees.
No, Father, no!
Behind him, Mary still has a hold on the handle of the sword. She lets it go. The sword falls from Marcus's hand. Hadrian rushes to his father.
What have you done? What have you done?
Mary's eyes swell with tears as she backs up in genuine disbelief at what she has just done.
Father, oh, please don't die.
Marcus grabs Hadrian's arm in desperation. He coughs and can hardly take his breath. Marcus looks at the members of the synod.
I only wanted glory for Itoria.
He falls into Hadrian's embrace. Silence fills the room. Mary can't take her eyes off Hadrian, who looks at her with a look of anguish on his face. Mary feels like she has betrayed Hadrian, who had helped her. A soldier grabs her. Patrick gets up.
Don't hurt her, please. You have all seen how Marcus took matters into his own hand, disregarding the synod. This young lady simply put an end to that. I now submit myself under Itorian justice. I do not refuse to answer for anything I have done, but we must not continue injustice against others.
There's a moment of silence.
Take the strong Latians out of here.
The soldier guides Mary and Jamie away. Interior Marcus's castle room later. Mary looks out of the window overlooking the sea. Jamie puts her baby to sleep on the only bed in the room.
I'm sorry about your brother.
Mary wipes away tears from her eyes. Jamie puts a hand on Mary's shoulder, but Mary squirms away.
We're not the enemy.
Mary sneaks a look at Jamie.
Are you sure about that?
The door to the room opens and Hadrian, accompanied by a guard, steps through. Mary takes a hasty step towards him.
Hadrian, please. I didn't want to.
Hadrian holds up his hand, cutting Mary off. Patrick steps in behind them. Jamie runs to Patrick and hugs him.
You have 2 days to get out of Westerden. All of you. If my soldier sees you after the 2 days grace period I'm allowing you, you'll be put to death on the spot.
Hadrian looks directly at Mary.
It's more mercy than you've shown my father.
Jamie looks at Patrick, confused.
The Synod has made Hadrian the Count of Westerden.
Patrick bows to Hadrian.
Long live the House of Hadrian.
Hadrian throws one last look at Mary and walks out. Exterior beach day. Mary sits by the beach looking at the water. She's completely alone, away from any civilization. She senses motion from nearby. Aymar startles her. Aymar sits beside her and produces some melodic whistles. Mary calms down. She hesitantly reaches and touches his face, as Joseph used to do. He leans his large head into her hand.
Hey, Aymar. I'm glad you dropped by.
They sit by each other in silence for some time. Aymar finally nudges Mary and whistles. He gestures for her to get on his back.
You want me to get on? Where are we going?
Aymar whistles.
It's going to take some time to learn your language.
Aymar whistles again.
All right. Guess I have no place else to go.
She jumps on Aymar's back. Aymar sprints away. Exterior forest day. Aymar runs through the forest. Exterior, Elfreda's house, outer perimeter, later. Elfreda is outside walking around on homemade crutches, inspecting the damage to the wall surrounding her house. There is some noise behind her. She looks back and is startled when she sees Mary and Aymar standing behind her. She freezes for a moment.
Is Jamie safe?
Mary nods. Elfreda sighs in relief, but then recognizes the unmistakable sadness on Mary's face.
Joseph?
Mary shakes her head and her eyes swell with tears. Elfreda is moved by the news. She limps towards Mary and hugs her. Zoom out into a wide shot. Mary and Elfreda comfort each other. Fade to black.
Woo!
So dramatic.
What do you guys think?
Oh, it was super fun.
You have a great voice for it, Chelsey, man. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I think I told you this before, Amir, when we had talked before.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of spots where Mary's in the scene and she doesn't say anything, and it really bothers me. Like there's a spot where when they're on the wall at some point, and it's like Joseph has all of these reactions, and she's basically just kind of there saying nothing. And it's kind of weird.
Okay.
And then the other scene at the very end, I think it's like all the, I think it's Hadrian and someone else, but there's like 2 or 3 of the boys talking, and she's there and she's kind of the main focus, but she doesn't say anything and she's just there. It feels like she doesn't quite have a voice, and there's maybe a couple of those lines that she could be giving the information rather than some of the other people that are there.
Okay.
I can look afterwards and give you specifically the 2 spots that I noticed.
It'd be good to have like specific points.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there's a couple of things I just wanted to bounce by you guys before we conclude. So there is 2, I guess, ways the story could end. Right now, it ends on the melancholy kind of ending. Joseph, well, we don't know whether Joseph dies or not, but you know, he's not there, right? The other is to have it more lighthearted, where Joseph shows up instead of Aymar. So in that scene where Aymar, you know, shows up on the beach, Joseph like kind of walks up beside her, you know, wet, and saves him. No.
No, I don't like.
I'm
Yeah.
with Skyler on that.
He should die.
Yeah.
He should stay dead.
Well, no, I
actually
Well, leave it
liked-
open.
yes.
I really
Okay,
like
leave it
that-
open.
Yeah.
We have an idea. Why don't you have end on like a whistle coming from like the bushes?
Oh. And you don't know who it's from? Yes!
That's a good idea too. Yeah. So do you think the ending where she meets up with Alfreda, is it too melodramatic?
I don't think so. I mean, it is the ending. You want it to end on like a big kind of moment.
You got to wrap stuff up.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to finish seeing Alfreda's story because you kind of lose her after she's hurt and
Yeah,
take
that was
Lana
the
as Sir
idea.
Patrick and then she's just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think you need to think about what do you want to leave your audience with? What is the moral of the story and the lesson you want to leave? Is it about love? Is it about sibling relationship? Is it what is the theme of the story and what do you want to leave them with?
Let me direct this at you the question back at you. What did you think the theme of the story was?
I
what
think
did you-
it was family.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was getting a strong, just because the main characters were brother and sister and they were sort of driving the story together.
Mhm.
And I felt like it was a lot about their relationship. And then again, the theme of family came up when it was the father being murdered, and all of those sort of twisty points. Those really drive the plot. So I think it's family is what I got from it. But
Okay, no, fair enough.
but
Anti-racism.
Yeah.
What did other people think? I just want to see, because I did like mention the theme a few times in the dialogue. I want to see if it should be a little bit more clear or no.
I got like honor. That's not the right word. I'm trying to figure out what I'm.
Unity.
Oh yeah, unity. Yep.
just
Yeah.
because they
Come
hurt us
back,
doesn't
come
mean
back.
we shouldn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
Is
Joseph,
that it?
Joseph got it. So that's the Skyler.
And my
guy.
Technicolor Dreamcoat. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's sort of like it's repeated multiple times in the story,
Mhm.
but the theme that I wanted to get across is, just because bad things happen to us doesn't mean that we should return bad for evil, or evil for evil. It's more like you gotta do the good, right thing, even if it's not so easy to do, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the primary theme in the story, and that kind of what I try to do is show like how they are, oppressed, like an oppressed minority, or not minority, oppressed like population in their own country kind of thing, right? And their main sort of, teaching is to, not return evil for evil. And then it's sort of shown in how Mary reacts, and they decide to help that Ictorian baby and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and she says it in the school too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like it.
think about that when you finish your ending.
So you mean bring up the theme again towards the end? That's what you're saying.
I think so, because then that your audience will remember that, or
That's a
some
good point.
piece of that. You'll just drive it home at the very end.
Okay.
I do like the way it ended. Like, it was a surprise to me. I'm like, oh, he's gonna come back. Oh, he's gonna come back. And he never came back, and I was really happy, actually.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. It's kind of like in Game of Thrones when you're like, oh, they're not going to kill Ned. No, they're not going to. And then they kill him, like right in the first season.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought the ending worked with him dying, and I just thought it leaves itself open for an obvious sequel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's built.
You never do, but that's keep him coming back for more.
Yeah. Why not leave it open for a second?
And while I can't argue against the bringing Alfreda back because she just sort of disappeared and we don't know what happened to her,
Okay.
the sort of ending with her, with Mary and Aymar, kind of mirroring the beginning with Joseph and Aymar and sort of them starting their relationship, and of course a cool credit montage of her riding through the forest or whatever, which would be
Yeah.
dope Miyazaki stuff. Yeah, I don't know how you'd fit Alfreda back in there before the oh hey Aymar whistle scene, but I don't know.
Yeah, the logistic problem that I had with bringing Alfreda back earlier, she's left really hurt, right? She was
Yeah.
a broken leg, ribs. She won't be able to make the dangerous trek from where she was all the way to the other side of town, kind of thing, right?
That's true.
So that's why I kind of brought
Practical.
Mary back to Alfreda rather than bring Alfreda back to Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
What kind of beast is Aymar? I'm trying to picture it. Is it like a dog? Is it like a horse? Is it like a gazelle? Did I miss that?
I also
can show you.
Ooh.
And like tentacles that come down from his lip, like some Lovecraftian eldritch.
Yeah, let me. Do you guys have a few more moments? I can show you.
Yeah.
I always imagine, the like dog, lion kind of beasts that are at the end of Hunger Games, the first part, when they're like chasing them through the forest.
Big dogs.
Like kind of dogs, but like if you crossed a mastiff with like a panther and a bear.
Yeah, I kind of got like a dog bear in my head reading about Aymar.
Yeah, same.
I just got mad, like
Shell.
Pick Up and Toothless How to Train Your Dragon vibes. I don't know about anybody else.
I never actually watched that script, that movie while I was writing.
Amir, you have to.
I watched it after, so just
Picture in
honestly.
the creature from Okia, but weirder.
Yeah, let me just hear. Where's the?
Do you have a picture, Amir?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It's not a picture. It's like a 3D character.
Oh, cool.
He's worse.
Ooh, okay.
Just give me a second here. Sometimes I get lost in the files. Movie, project, movie. Jeez, where the heck is it?
There was some really cute misspelled words too.
Yeah, no, there's every time Coos comes up, what's her?
I can't help but just
Momona laughs. I don't know why. Is that not a word? Like baby is cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do or they don't?
It's when it's the shush that has like 3 U's after it, like shoo.
Yeah. There was also, I guess it was supposed to be a father, but it said fatter.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Pater, like the Latin version.
Yeah, and after you guys' point about like repetitive descriptions, I started like spotting those all over the place, right? So
And also,
could be short.
And also, going on that, sorry, Karin, do you want to go first?
Sure, go for it.
No, you go.
Okay. Just if we're going to talk about nitpicky details, because that's my favorite part, check your flashbacks and the formatting, because they need to be reformatted with going into the flashbacks and coming out of them. And also there's a few spots where it says Joseph didn't respond or no response, but then the person responds in dialogue. So I would get rid of those. And also there were 2 monologues that after like very not little dialogue, but like unbalanced dialogue, it was like, whoa, your monologue should probably be no longer than 5 to 7 lines, which may be tricky. But there's Joseph's on page 69 when he's talking to Alfreda, and Marcus had a really long one at the end too. And then something that was just maybe more of a personal preference or thing is you kept referencing kid and the kids. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, you just kind of lost my empathy. But if you say child or children, it just feels like I feel more. Like where he's like, the kid. I'm like, kids.
Okay.
So I would, watch word choice, because you've got really good word choices in other places. Like you've got a beautiful style of writing. So those were like, whoa, it kind of jarred me.
Yeah, no, good point. I will take that. I'm gonna have to do another path over the whole action thing. It needs to, like you guys said, needs to be condensed and made a little bit more snappy.
Just have a read of other scripts. That helped me personally.
Yeah, no, right, yeah.
And then as soon as I was done reading, even just a paragraph, I'm like, whoa, go back to my script and start like pulling that energy into it. Another note, from sort of an actor's perspective. I don't know if actors would get this, you guys feel the same way, but describing how an actor feels is kind of a no-no. As the actor in the moment will be able to bring it, and thanks, Momona. And you'll and like saying this person was very distraught, like how do you see that? It's like, what are you seeing? Not, you can't really say underneath what's going on. Like sometimes you can hint at it, but really describing what the viewer is seeing and going through is much more helpful. So yeah, just watch the sort of actor stuff, and there's like a couple lines in between some of the dialogue that I know that just doesn't need to be there. I just automatically start reading through it. I think that's why I jumped onto that line so quickly, because it was like all stuff was going on and I just want to get into the meat of it.
Well, it's kind of two things, right? Because one of the things that I do, because I know I'm not gonna, like, it's sort of, for me, I'm trying to put in directing notes, or the ways the characters, I see them in my head, so that I can at least give hints to people, like this is the way I think it should be done, sort of as a collaborative back and forth. But you're right, like if it's not like, if when somebody's reading it, they have to bring in their own sort of emotions into it, right?
Yeah, like the way Skyler and Chelsey were reading, because they're just the leads, like was there anything that kind of surprised you, or you thought, oh, I wouldn't do it that way, or oh, that's an interesting choice?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of it.
Yeah, like just letting actors kind of go into that. I'm being actor advocate right now, and get into their most things, and then you have that ability afterwards to be, you're actually very sad, or you're actually very this or that, to help you direct those.
Oh, yeah.
So this is sort of the
kind of what I had in my room.
Yeah.
It's like a Cerberus.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, it's like a lizard bear.
Big bear, bear man pig.
Oh wow, that's
so this is,
amazing.
Cool.
I pictured it a little bit more cuddly, but that's more or less it.
It's not. Yeah, it's still not quite finished yet.
But the tentacles are in there, right?
Yeah, you can.
I really want to see the tentacles
on it.
Hold on.
Oh,
I'll get it.
No. Texture pack.
Tentacles. Here you go. Just move.
It's got that cool, like, biomechanical H.R. Giger element.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh. Great.
Out of his lower lip. Huh?
It is, well, I have to change the texturing a little bit so that I can give it the glowing eyes and the veins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Much more badass than I imagined. But again, with all the descriptive writing, again, as a live action, I get all the points that like Nikki and Karin were making. I've never seen a full script for an animation, so I don't know if that changes things, because maybe the animators need all of that information. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Like if you're gearing towards it being an animated feature, then maybe that's something that the people who are animating, I mean, unless it's you, but if you got multiple animators, maybe they need to see all that scene description. I don't know.
Typically with animated movies, they do storyboards, don't they?
Yeah.
They do like frame by frame mock-ups,
animatics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do that.
But for someone doing up the storyboard, that's all helpful on text, I guess. I don't know. Again, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No.
So Amir, did you design Aymar?
No, I don't. I try to, because if you design every little bit of the thing, it's just gonna take forever to do anything, right? What I do is I try to use a lot of free, assets out there. And for example, this is Mary here.
Oh wow!
So is this right? So like this character is generated by like an add-on, right? That that creates characters, right? Anyway, the idea is I'm like, if I do all the characters myself, it's just gonna take forever, right? So I'm trying to use as much, free stuff out there, or freely available stuff that can be used in other movies and stuff like that, right? So anyway, that's the general idea I'm trying to do.
Cool.
Mayor, I'm sorry, but my dinner's getting cold and my partner's starting to have some grunts behind the door here.
I was showing off. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate all your time, guys. I honestly appreciate all the time that you guys put in there.
Yeah.
This is super fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Thank you and good work.
Did a great job.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. This is like super hard to make a feature script. It is a huge task to take on. So
if you guys don't mind, I'd like to keep you in the loop, like keep that Facebook group alive, and I'll just bounce stuff on there whenever you guys want to see it.
So
amazing. Yes.
All right, great. Thank you again. I appreciate your time. And
thank you, Amir.
Good evening.
Yep.
Thank you. It's great to meet
Bye,
you.
guys. Thanks, Momona.
Hey, guys.
Nice meeting some of you. Nice seeing some of you again.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
Bye, see you guys.